Warning, the following podcast contains adult language, themes, and situations. Also, the film we're about to talk about is going to be spoiled thoroughly. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
As we've seen in the past, Nicolas Cage has an uncanny ability to literally disappear into a role like few actors are capable. But usually, if you stop a film like Pig, Adaptation, or Dream Scenario, you can still easily recognize him. But what happens when you cover all traces of Nicolas Cage with heavy prosthetics, ratchet up the insanity to 11, and turn him into the creepiest villain we've ever seen him play? We'll find out as we take on the 2020 A24 horror film, Longlegs.
Okay, let's run.
I'm like a prickly pear.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole! Porker! How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? Hey, have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you pissed blood?
Welcome to One Cage at a Time, the show where we break down every single Nicolas Cage movie, one film at a time. Here are your hosts, Patrick, Vince, and Nigel.
A semi-psychic detective is tasked with solving a series of unexplainable murders committed by someone leaving cryptic letters at the scene while seemingly having no connection to the victims. What follows is a creepy, lurid descent into the world of the occult, satanic ritual, and of course, murder.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are your stars.
Longlegs stars former professional kiteboarder and It Follows star Maika Monroe, multi-hyphenate star of film, television, and theater, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. regular Blair Underwood. Orange is the New Black and Justified regular who made her acting debut as that creepy-ass kid in David Lynch's version of Dune, Alicia Witt. And of course, a man we'd all unwittingly do the dark bidding of any day of the week, Academy Award-winning actor who awakens the Mr. Downstairs in all of us, Nicolas Kim Coppola, better known as Nicolas Cage.
Let's dive into the nitty-gritty.
Longlegs was released on July 12th, 2024, which in our timeline is like 6 months ago. I think this is the quickest we've ever ended up recording an episode after a movie came out. Though I feel like Pig was fairly recent.
That was pretty
it came
quick.
Out.
Yeah, I think it had like very recently hit digital when we did Pig.
Yeah, so there weren't like a ton of there wasn't a ton of information about Pig when we were talking about it. There is a ton of quick facts already out there for Longlegs, as we'll get into. Not that it really helps because this is probably not going to come out for 6 months, but but in our timeline, we're recording on January 19th, within 6 days of January 14th. So, follow the cipher.
Yeah, that'll make sense in a bit.
Had a budget of under $10 million. No concrete number that I could find anywhere. We asked this, I feel like, on our last episode on Dream Scenario, like, do they have to publish the budgets anymore, or is it public record anymore? That just said under 10 million. I know that they spent at least 10 million on the marketing. Mm-hmm. So you take the marketing and the budget. So the making the movie was under 10 million, but the marketing was over 10 million. Clearly, if you were paying attention when Longlegs came out on the internet, especially, it was everywhere.
Yeah, ads all over the place.
But it grossed $127 million, which is crazy for this kind of insane fever dream acid trip of a movie. $127 million. I feel like it was all word of mouth and the viral marketing.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the marketing getting tons of people excited, intrigued, and then the word of mouth was good.
I feel like Ari Aster has this ability, like, I don't know, it's just like a Kendrick Lamar song drops and everybody's like, oh God, I got to check it out no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with Ari Aster. If he produces it, he directs it, he writes it, whatever. It just becomes kind of a thing that people have to check out.
Well, it was an A24 movie, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think
Neon
that's-
and A24. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both like stamps of quality, even kind of breaking into the mainstream more, I think, now. And so I think just that coupled with like, hey, it's Nick Cage in a role you'll never recognize him in, it probably just was like the perfect storm of getting people interested enough to see this one.
Yeah. This was only the second time that Cage has worked with Neon. He's never worked with A24 until now. The first time he worked with Neon was on Pig. So pretty good track record so far. Yeah. Though Pig didn't make any money, but it was an amazing movie.
Yeah. It also wasn't marketed the same, and I don't think it just had the same. Yeah. Even if you watch movie. The marketing for Pig, you'd be like, okay, it's old Nick Cage as a John Wick thing, I guess. I don't know. This was like, oh, it's Nick Cage as a serial killer in some creepy ass role. We're not even going to show people what he looks like. So
yeah, this was only projected to gross $7 to $9 million. That was what they thought it was going to make. I feel like even after the marketing, they were kind of like, well, it'll do better on streaming. We'll make our, the budget back for the movie when it comes out in theaters. But this is going to go straight to streaming pretty much immediately. But it debuted with a $22.4 million opening weekend and ended up going on to be Neon's highest grossing film ever. It actually doubled Parasite, which I feel like Parasite is, a very well-known movie at this point. Yeah. Ended up winning Best Picture, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so, that's pretty impressive.
Foreign Picture, maybe?
That was the guy who made Snowpiercer, right? That same guy.
I don't know.
I don't
want to say yes, but it sounds like that sounds right.
Yeah, I think so. I was not a fan of Snowpiercer. I hated that movie so much. I know that gets me canceled.
Yeah, that's one of those
there
movies
in the world
you can't
of nerds.
say shit about. You can't say bad stuff about, apparently.
I hated
love that movie. My favorite movie of all time.
Yeah. I mean, we'll move on. This was written and directed by Osgood Perkins, who is the son of legendary Psycho star Anthony Perkins, guy who played Norman Bates, which I feel like everybody knows who that is. Even if you don't watch movies, you know who Norman Bates was. So you've seen Anthony Perkins' face. Mm-hmm. Oz has acted a bit, mostly in small parts in films such as Legally Blonde, Not Another Teen Movie. He was in Nope, and I believe he's going to be in The Monkey, which is the movie that he's currently directing, or I guess has just finished directing. Based on the Stephen King adaptation, or the adaptation of the Stephen King short story. But my favorite Oz Perkins role was in a movie called Quigley, which is a movie from 2003 where Gary Busey gets turned into a Pomeranian.
Yeah, that's a real movie.
Which is exactly what you think it would be. Just a dog running around going, butter sausage. I love butter sausage.
How's it made? Where does it come from?
I wrestled a bear once. 600-pound black bear.
Oh my God. That's been so fun to make that movie.
Anytime you get a chance to go into a sound booth with Gary Busey, oh my God, that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
What is he going to say next? Why has he not delivered one of the lines on the script? We've been here for 3 hours.
Oh, God. Go to the IMDb page and like the picture. The thumbnail for the trailer is it's Gary Busey in a dog collar.
Yeah. Just watch the trailer.
Yeah, don't watch the movie. Just watch the trailer.
I think I've seen a YouTube review of it from some people. Yeah. So yeah, it's like one of those cult movies.
It's one of those how the hell did this get made type of movies.
Obviously shot on like home video, digital video camera, Birdemic style.
It reminds me of did you guys see The Talking Cat? It's like
no, I'm thinking of that one. Is that Kevin Spacey?
No.
What the fuck am I
no.
thinking of?
No, it's Eric Roberts. But it was clear that they like recorded it at his house and like with a microphone across the room from him because the freaking cat's voice echoes like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another one that I've seen like the YouTube reviews of. So I'm like, I feel like I've seen that one. Yeah, that's the one. I was getting I was getting them confused, but I've seen videos for both Quigley and the talking cat.
The talking cat is it's something. It's a good one. Thankfully, Oz switched from acting to writing and directing, and has gone on to direct such horror films as The Black Coat's Daughter, Gretel and Hansel, and of course, like I mentioned, he's currently working on an adaptation of the Stephen King short story, The Monkey, which I've already seen some trailers for. Looks like it's going to be kind of on par with Longlegs as far as look and feel, but I think they're going more for a comedic tone on it. I don't know. Maybe that's just the marketing so far. But I think Longlegs has done wonders for Osgood's career.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see where he's going to go from here. But it kind of seems like he's going to catapult from the success of this film, if The Monkey does well, I guess. This was shot by Andres Arochi Tinajero. I think is how you say his name. Relative newcomer who has mostly shot films in Mexico with a handful of shorts, music videos, and ads under his belt, but recently shot a film called Sun, S-U-N, which has, I think, only debuted at film festivals at this point. I think it was released late last year, but hasn't come out wide or hasn't come out to streaming or anything like that, but it has pretty rave reviews from the people who have reviewed it, which again, I'm guessing are mostly film critics, people who saw it at the festival. Edited by Greg Ning and Graham Fortin. Fortin has mostly worked on shorts that I have never heard of, guessing same kind of thing like film festival stuff. And then Ning has worked on a ton of small projects that I have also never heard of, except for an episode of 30 for 30 and Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever.
My favorite one.
That's the best. Grumpy Cat?
That's the best. That's a talking Grumpy Cat.
We lost a national treasure.
Yeah. R.I.P. Grumpy Cat. And then music was by Osgood Perkins's brother, Elvis Perkins. It's just unfortunate names up and down in that family. Osgood and Elvis.
Yeah.
But he did the music under the pseudonym Ziegler for this movie. He's only worked on his brother's projects up to this point. So I think he only has like 3 credits. And I think he went by Elvis Perkins on the first 2, but decided to go with Ziegler on this one. So maybe he was tired of getting nepotism thrown his way and wanted to get more work. I will say the music in this is amazing. So
yeah, I really like it.
You wouldn't really know that it was just the director's brother who jumped in.
Yeah. So that's probably good. Make a name for himself.
Yeah, I would hire Ziegler. But as you can tell, it was a very small production. Writer director combo, and then just a handful of people who have mostly only done shorts up to this point. Nothing major, under anybody's belt. I would say, aside from Maika Monroe and Nick Cage, you didn't really have a whole lot of heavy hitters in this thing.
Yeah, everybody else are like character actors.
Yeah,
like Blair Underwood and Alicia Witt. But man, I know you and I talked about this offline, Patrick, but this is what happens when you let people who are talented come together and trust them to execute on their vision. Yeah. And we're losing that a lot right now in Hollywood, especially with some of the bigger pictures out there. So this was such a refreshing film to sit down and watch. And God, I just hope that he keeps him and guys like the gentleman that made Pig. I hope they just keep getting opportunities to tell stories, because we're starting to get some good writers back and good directors back into Hollywood that aren't just pumping out garbage.
I think movies like this are really encouraging, because this was an indie film under $10 million, and it made 127. It was like there is an interest in these types of smaller productions and more, challenging subject matter, or at least like movies that are not cookie cutter, don't fit into the mainstream, very unformulaic. Which is, always been the strength of indie film throughout history. And we've kind of lost that a little bit with, physical media going away. They don't really have the return on investment anymore that they used to. So they're, they used to greenlight movies that cost $3-4 million like crazy back in the Miramax days. We can't really talk about them much anymore, but honestly, I feel like something has been missing since Miramax stopped being a thing. And
Predatory molestation.
The Weinstein Company went away.
Well, I think we just hit a sad point in time where we had these huge blockbusters. I mean, I think Marvel really kind of changed how people in studios were looking at it. They wanted these massive franchises that they could tell a story over 10 years. And then you had COVID hit and people not going to the theaters, and then trying to still capture that big audience. I don't know. And just maybe rushing projects along and not really letting people tell the story they want to tell, or in some cases giving people way too much creative freedom, and then they put screaming goats into a movie for 2.5 hours.
Or make a musical to Joker. That nobody wants to see.
At least they're trying something different. I don't know.
Plus, then you had to coincide with every studio creating their own streaming or trying to get their own streaming thing or try to figure out how to make money on streaming. So it's like the movie theater ecosystem's like completely being torn apart, overhauled, trying and put back together to try and figure out a way to make money that also aligns with consumer practices. So it's a weird time.
It is a weird time. Now that you mentioned
it's like with these movies. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, now that you mentioned the streaming thing, you're right. That pulls away from traditional theatrical releases, and you get a lot of bad movies hitting streaming platforms just so that the companies can get exclusive content out on their platform. Which really kind of waters down the whole experience overall, in my opinion.
Plus, it's harder to gauge the return on investment of it, because it's like, you make a movie that you're going to put on your streaming platform, like aside from subscriber numbers, and view numbers, how do you tell how much that actually made for you after you've spent $200 million producing it, So,
I guess you look at the numbers, like how many times was that movie viewed?
Right. And how many of those were new people, new subscribers? I mean, I'm sure there's metrics and analytics for it, but
it's a weird ecosystem, because you're spending $200 million on a movie, and Netflix is what, $10 a month. So like, how do you really? And that's like, I just don't understand how these companies are able to do that on the back end. And there's good with the bad, but man, there's been a lot of bad that just gets pushed to these platforms so that they can be like, hey, we have exclusive content. That's why you should go with us over the other streamer.
It feels like a lot of these indie movies that you see, like we talk about, they get made. It's like about $10 million seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of these. So it's like, and a lot of them feels like they're expecting them to be a loss at the box office, and then later they'll pick it up just enough with what used to be DVD sales or, syndication to play it on TV or streaming or whatever, just enough to kind of make a profit. And now I don't know what that looks like for them. I'm sure that, places like Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu and Amazon, they all still pay for streaming rights to stream stuff. So these movies can still make a profit after that. But when it's something that a studio is producing for its own streaming platform, I don't know what their metrics look like to determine whether or not it is a success.
I think it's still sort of the same model that they used to go for, where they have kind of like their tentpole projects that hold everything up, and then the umbrella underneath is all of those smaller budget films, and they're hoping that, people will come for this big movie, and then they'll stay and watch all of the other smaller movies.
I have to imagine they're expecting a certain amount of revenue from their streaming platforms, and they've built in how much they can grow that by the amount of content they have, and that's what they look for to see if they're hitting. So I don't know. I don't know how to figure it out.
I don't know. Hollywood math never made any sense to me anyway.
Yeah.
Ratings. This has an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.6 out of 10 on 310 reviews. So that's, on the critic side, pretty good. It's not pig good or, some of the other films that we've talked about, but 85% is pretty solid. It's 85% of the reviewers gave it a 6 or above. Mm-hmm. But on the audience score, it's a 61%, which is significantly lower. We talked about it offline, but, I don't think that this film was what a lot of people thought it was going to be. I feel like a lot of people were roped into this by the marketing or by word of mouth, and they watched it and they're like, that was a fucking weird movie. So, I think that explains the audience score. I don't think people thought they were going to an indie film.
Yeah.
An indie weird ass horror movie, satanic story about, I don't know.
I think this is one
Gene
of those
Simmons
films.
and drag going.
Gene Simmons and drag. I think this is one of those films that will grow over time, and I think I definitely think it's a repeat view. Like you don't get the full benefit out of watching it just one time. I myself, I've seen it 4 times now, and I think each time I pick up on new things, and each time I have a better appreciation for the film than I did the first time. The first time walking out, I was like, that was a lot to take in, and it wasn't. I went in pretty blind. So when it started transitioning over to the occult stuff and the satanic stuff, I was like, this is not what I thought, but it is still very interesting to me. And I wonder how people are going to reflect upon it when they leave the movie, because it's not Silence of the Lambs anymore. It's turned into this whole other film.
Yeah. Like literally the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Metacritic score was a 77%. So that's, again, the critics. That's one of the higher Metacritic scores that we've ever seen. But then jumping back to the audience, we added Letterboxd this year, this season, for better or worse. Letterboxd gave it a 3.4 out of 5. And IMDb gave it a 6.6 out of 10. So those are about the same, on par with each other. But yeah, you can see that the audience didn't really get to the same place that the critics did as far as, praising this movie and thinking that it was a masterpiece or, something to be studied, which I feel like that's kind of the critics' job, is to be like, hey, this is good. I know you don't think it's good, but I'm telling you it's good because I've been studying film and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Going back to the audience, this one is shocking to me. Cinema score. Whoa.
It's the devil.
Can someone please deliver a doll? Just drop a doll off.
Cinema score was a C+, which is really bad.
Yeah.
So
maybe the word of mouth wasn't that good.
Well, I think word of mouth got people to the theater, but then they watched it and they were like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think, how much did it make opening weekend? Because I don't know.
22.4.
Yeah.
So it had decently long legs, to make another 100 million on top of that following it. So
I don't really know how to gauge how well this movie did, because to me, this is not a movie I would want to go see in the theater. And this is a very strange movie from top to bottom. I mean, it looks weird. It sounds weird. The story is weird. The way that it's put together is weird. So, I feel like it's not a movie that I would have ever expected to make $127 million. The movies that we've talked about recently, like Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and Dream Scenario, those are the movies I expected to make $127 million.
Yeah.
This is not.
With some star power and a little bit more general audience appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
totally.
One thing to remember about this film, too, is they brought it back for Halloween. They did a limited release again for Halloween. and did pretty well during that run too. So it's like one of those. This is definitely though, and the horror industry is very unique, right? Like, or at least the horror film fans are very unique. Like they're very loyal to that genre, which is why movies like Insidious and Annabelle and The Conjuring do so well.
Yeah,
that's where I think a lot of this comes from. That audience is gonna love a movie like this. Your average Joe is gonna walk in and maybe enjoy the film. It's a good story. It takes some turns that you don't anticipate it taking, but overall they're gonna walk out, especially with the way it ends, like, what the fuck did I just watch? Was that a complete story? Like, what did I miss? Right. So I could see an average audience being kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Anecdotally, the only people aside from you guys who I know who've watched this movie and have said good things about it are people who watch like horror movies and love, like House and indie horror and stuff like Hereditary and Annabelle and Nope and all those other stuff. So yeah, it definitely has that audience.
Yeah.
If you'll remember when we did our adaptation episode, it also got a C+. So I feel like movies that are a little more challenging or a little more, I don't know, out of the mainstream, like kind of cookie cutter style of film, may not elicit the response that people are expecting.
I imagine with the marketing push that it had, a lot of people probably went in expecting something like Silence of the Lambs.
That's the comparisons it was drawing, and it was intentional, right? He wanted to use that similarity of Silence of the Lambs to bring people in, but then deliver the twist and take them on a totally different journey, which for a certain group of people works. For most people, they're like, I just wanted to come watch Nick Cage slaughter people. I wanted to watch Seven.
I think Seven and Silence of the Lambs were the big comparisons that I kept seeing. And I guess a little bit. It's got a little bit of like Seven and Silence of the Lambs salt sprinkled on it, but it's kind of its own thing.
It's totally its own thing. Yeah.
We should mention that the film is actually up for multiple Saturn Awards, which are coming up in a couple weeks in our world. So by the time this comes out, it'll be long over. But currently up for Best Horror Film, Best Screenwriting, Best Makeup, Best Production Design, and Nick has been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Best Makeup Design.
Yeah, I'm laughing at Best Makeup.
By the way, we should mention that we've mentioned this in the past, but the Saturn Awards are in no way related to Saturn Films, which is Nick Cage's production company. It's not a way for Nick to just give himself awards. He has won several Saturn Awards over the years.
I was pretty scary in that film. Did you see it? I think I should win.
I think I should be up for all the awards this year. How about Best Horror Film, Best Screenwriting, Best Makeup, Best Production Design? No, it's not associated.
How about a Coppola Quick Facts?
Coppola quick facts here. I have a bunch of quick facts. There's actually a lot going on behind the scenes, especially with the marketing and stuff, and then also kind of the inspiration for the movie. So I'll just jump straight into it. Writer-director Oz Perkins drew inspiration from several sources. The plot device of the evil doll that causes fathers to murder their families was loosely inspired by the killing of John Benet Ramsey. In that, I think this is a quote from Oz Perkins. The murder took place approaching Christmas, and one of the presents that the parents got for John Benet was a life-size replica doll of herself wearing one of her pageant dresses, which is so creepy, dude.
Oh, my God.
You think
it was... I don't know. Whatever happened to that family?
I don't know.
Bunch of weird shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go watch all like the thousands of documentaries that are still coming out.
Seriously.
Like,
there's so many.
Bunch of weird shit before and after the murder.
Yeah,
people are obsessed with that case. Like fucking Nancy Grace was talking about it every single day for like 10 years.
That's what made her career.
Anyways, it was in a cardboard box in the basement, which was about 15 feet from where she was killed.
Yeah, some
and there
insider
was
information here, Patrick.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not the coroner from this movie. I'm and there was something so insane about that I cataloged away. Oz Perkins cataloged away, and that was, I think, probably the initial like jumping off point for this story. Perkins, who is, as we said, the son of Anthony Perkins, who, of course, played Norman Bates in Psycho, and his mom is model photographer Barry Berenson. He has cited that the film, which is mainly about mothers keeping secrets, was inspired by Berenson, who stuck with Anthony Perkins for, they were married for a long, long time, despite knowing that he was gay. And Oz Perkins told People magazine that the film was inspired by his mother's treatment towards Anthony Perkins's relationships that he had, shielding the public and the Perkins children from knowledge of anything going on. Oz Perkins was quoted as saying, "Your mother can protect you from a truth that she thinks is unsavory, and then you just build out a crazy movie around that." That's, finding something positive, I guess.
Yeah.
from the trauma that he went through as a kid. But I gotta wonder, like, when did he find out? It's just, why is Dad so into scarves?
Wait, your dad doesn't have a massive collection of scarves?
Osgood Perkins thought of only 2 actors when he was thinking of the role of Longlegs, which I will remind you that Longlegs is a kind of ambiguous, sexually androgynous devil creature with white face makeup and long hair and crooked ass weird teeth and just the weirdest freak in the world. And the 2 people that he came up with to play the role were Nicolas Cage and Brad Pitt. I guess. I mean, acting wise, of course.
I would have liked to see Brad Pitt do it. That would have been funny.
Brad Pitt would be interesting.
I would love to see his take on the character.
It's just weird. Name a role that you'd think of that you'd be like, oh yeah, either Nicolas Cage or Brad Pitt. Just in anything. Like, what kind of a character would that be?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're both wildly different.
Very different people, but they both have the unique ability to be like leading men and character actors. We've talked about this in the past. Or like Brad Pitt can go really off the wall, as we've seen. Don't get him near an airplane, but
God damn it, dude. God damn it.
He can go kind of, insane, like in 12 Monkeys or California, that one where he played an actual murderer, roles like Fight Club, where he's kind of more of a unsavory character. I don't know. I could see it. But, like, why bring in, a super handsome dude like a Nick Cage or a Brad Pitt and make them into whatever the hell Longlegs is? I don't know. It's weird. From an acting standpoint, sure. But from a facial standpoint, you could have, just hired Rocky Dennis to play the character.
God damn it.
No, you can't.
I don't know. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if you know Rocky Dennis' story.
Yeah.
He's unavailable.
Bring in the Elephant Man.
Also
dead.
Or the guy who played the Elephant Man.
Yep. Nicolas Cage's makeup and mannerisms for the film bear some resemblance to the likeness of Marilyn Manson back in the 90s, especially, who was viewed as a Satanist during the 90s, and then until his career petered out, and then he did a bunch of nefarious stuff and was hanging out with Brad Pitt on the airplane. And
God damn it! Don't you dare!
Hey, he went into acting. I thought
into that. He went into acting.
He had a bit part on Eastbound and Down, right?
And Californication and a couple other shows. He's
was
terrible.
he?
Yeah, he was terrible. Awful.
Yeah, I know he was on the Wonder Years. I remember that.
Remember the shit when you try. Yeah, full circle. Then you started acting, and
yeah.
I just like it's just funny. Like if you were an edgelord in the '90s, how
That's a different meaning now.
how ultimately, yeah, maybe just like how ultimately useless of a person you actually are in modern society. Like all the shit that would make you edgy in the 90s basically just doesn't translate into anything useful, and then you turn into a 50-year-old and you're just kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
Staring down the barrel of my future.
You're an edgelord in a different country.
Oh, yeah.
When co-editor Greg Ning first saw dailies of Nicolas Cage, he actually had no idea that it was Nicolas Cage playing the role. He just was like, wow, this is creepy. And then, what?
Right.
That's Nicolas Cage? It's crazy, dude. Especially like, you know, like we said, like this movie didn't cost a whole lot. How did you even get Nick Cage to be in this?
Yeah.
Well, Saturn Films
convinced him to wear that.
Saturn Films was listed in the credits as one of the production companies. So kick him a few bucks to his production company, and
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
I guess his company threw in a few bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the type of guy that if he really wants to be part of that project, he'll take pay cuts.
Yeah, you know, he had a free weekend or so.
Yeah,
for sure.
Go in and shoot all this stuff, and
he was already wearing the makeup. That's weird.
I
He's
don't
just walking around Hollywood with it.
I don't get the sense that he was filming for a long period of time.
No,
it was short.
There's only like 3 locations that we see Longlegs in.
Mm-hmm.
He's maybe in 5 minutes of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Maybe. This one is this was used heavily in the marketing, but Maika Monroe was kept completely in the dark over co-star Nicolas Cage's transformation as the serial killer Longlegs, and had never seen Cage in character. She did know that Nick was the one, I guess, but didn't see him as Longlegs until they shot their infamous interrogation scene, which also happened to be Cage's final day on set. During filming, Monroe wore a microphone on her shirt, which, along with her dialogue, was sensitive enough to also capture her heartbeat. Monroe's initial resting heart rate was 76 beats per minute, and when the scene ended, it had spiked to a rate of 170 beats per minute. The sound of her panicked heartbeat was then used in a final promotion trailer prior to the film's release. In an IndieWire interview, Monroe recalled, "It was insane. It was absolutely insane. As you know, he completely transformed. There's no trace of Nick in there. His voice, his mannerisms, he was very much method on this. So it was in character, and it's a very disturbing character, to say the least." You could see Nick just... even when they yell cut, happy birthday.
Can I get a cup of coffee?
Is anybody hurt? Anybody need help? I can't play a lift.
I want like a blooper or like a parody of the interrogation scene as him dressed up as our boy from Deadfall.
Eddie, yeah. So I guess going back to that quick fact, though, it mentioned that was his last day of filming, and that's the scene that he's in has the most screen time in. So he definitely couldn't have been filming for that long for the other scenes. So he was probably only shooting for a few days.
Yeah.
Aside from the scene, I guess the scene in front of the house where he's talking to young Lee.
And then there's the scene in the store.
The scene in the store. The other ones were all solo, like just Nick on his own. So
because he's in the basement for a couple of shots. He's in the store interacting with the teenager, and then he's in the car doing his Cage freak out.
And even in the scene when he has her mom tied up, that could have been a stunt double.
Oh, yeah,
obviously it wasn't him in the house when she gets the letter. It's not Nick actually there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways that they could have filmed his double villain, but
save a little bit of a budget.
Yeah.
As we've seen, like on Arsenal, he was paid for 24 hours, and that's all he gave him was 24 hours.
And boy, did he.
Boy, did he. So, something like that could be how they did it with this one, too. I don't know.
As shitty as that movie is, that still kind of impresses me that they got all of that in 24 hours.
That movie, I feel like, we talked about it on the show, I think it was only filmed in like 13 days, but it felt like it probably was only filmed in like 4.
Yeah.
Like just a couple of amateur filmmakers put together a piece of shit and dumped it on Netflix or whatever, wherever the hell that came out.
DirecTV.
Let's name it Arsenal so it shows up first in the selection. Fuck you. So stupid.
Oh my God.
Despite the praise and acclaim of his portrayal as Longlegs, Nicolas Cage has stated that this will be his first and only portrayal of a serial killer for a film. In an interview with IndieWire, Cage said, "I know that the phone is going to be ringing off the hook to play serial killers after Longlegs, and that's not really what I like to do. I don't like violence. I don't like to play people who are hurting people," which we have seen Nick kind of take this stance on things before, but then suddenly he'll do one, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm never going to do that. And then he's playing a fucking satanic murderer.
He gave us Eddie King twice.
Yeah, twice. Gave us Face Off Boy.
Yeah.
Well, he was kind of playing the good guy, you know? So
True, I guess that's right. That was the way that he argued it in his head, if I remember correctly, is that he started out as the villain, but because of the face off, he became the good guy.
Yeah.
This, as we mentioned, did way better than they were expecting. And it actually was the highest grossing independent horror film since Insidious Chapter 2, which was back in 2013. So after 11 years in between those two films, that's pretty impressive that it did that well. And a lot of that is credited to this insane viral marketing campaign that they had, which we'll get into here. Perkins actually credited Neon for the film's marketing, saying the studio asked me really early on, do we have your permission to kind of go nuts? And boy, did they ever. They really swung for the fences on this thing. And I said, what else are we going to do here? Go for it. Do your thing. The film's total marketing budget was under $10 million, though, focusing on using digital content over traditional ads, TV ads. They did have trailers and stuff, but it was all online. I don't even know if I ever saw, I don't really watch TV anymore, but I don't think I saw anything about Longlegs on TV, but there were billboards, there was tons of internet marketing all over the place. I saw it nonstop for a few weeks there. I don't think anybody's on, watching TV really anymore. So, the old market of watching television and getting a trailer is kind of gone by the wayside. Osgood Perkins actually requested not using Nicolas Cage on the posters or in the trailer, despite playing the lead character role. So Neon had to come up with a creative plan to promote and sell the movie without depending on Nick Cage, which they did such a good job of. We talked about it offline, but I felt like the success of Blair Witch Project way back when was like, you never see the witch, you never see the ghost, you never see whatever is attacking them, and it just kind of like makes you more like you imagine what this monster is, or you kind of impart your own feelings towards whatever is doing this, and I feel like that has a nice like psychological touch to it that ultimately you're going to create something that is the ultimate scary thing for you. Yep.
And Longlegs looms large over this whole movie, even though he's not in it a lot. So they think they hit that perfectly. That fear of the unknown and the imagination that everybody has. Can do wonders in a horror setting.
A great job of that. Longlegs actually had a popular social media marketing campaign which went viral and included billboards with nothing but the phone number 458-666-4355, which led to a recorded message of Longlegs himself saying, "I'll be waiting." If the number was called, that would be the message before the movie came out. And then after it came out, it would be singing "Happy Birthday" like in the movie
for 24 minutes.
For 24 minutes straight.
It goes on like that for another 24 minutes.
Oh, okay. A series of short videos containing ciphers, a series of images on Instagram, a fake website for the movie murder cases with photos and case details called the Birthday Murders, which I think is still up. And an alternate reality game requiring fans to use all of the clues from the website and from the marketing campaign and from the phone call and all that kind of stuff to decode puzzles and obtain passwords to open downloadable files and stuff, which I'm guessing were, pieces of the trailer or like the, little clips from the film or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but a crazy amount of thought put into that whole campaign.
That's cool. So it's like to echo Blair Witch, the Blair Witch did a lot of similar stuff when the Blair Witch Project came out. They had a whole bunch of internet marketing and was like one of the first mainstream films to actually use it a lot. Like they had a website, they had like fake articles about the Blair Witch story, and like they created IMDb pages for each of the characters as actors and listed them as deceased and had like missing posters and stuff for them. So they were like really capturing that. So that's cool that they did that for this as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of not done as much as you would think based on the success. I mean, I guess not everybody's successful doing it that way, but like some of these films have been really successful marketing that way. I feel like Paranormal Activity kind of did the same thing when that happened.
In terms of like return on investment, it's got to be pretty good. I mean, even if it's not that successful, it can't cost that much to do something like this. You just, pay some developers, some freelance developers and folks to do it. It's still going to be cheaper than an ad spot on YouTube or something.
Yeah, like we said, under $10 million. Nowadays an ad could cost you $10 million to run on television.
Yep.
So,
and even that, like I don't watch TV either, but I saw ads for this all over the place, and I don't know if it's.
I think it was mostly online.
Yeah, I was like trying to remember where. I guess YouTube ads and Hulu ads and all kinds of stuff. Like it's all. The algorithm probably knows I like Nick Cage, so it stuck him all over the place in front of me.
Yeah. I opened up my Hulu account the other day to Con Air and I think The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent and like 2 other Nick Cage movies, like just front and center. I'm like, hey, now it knows. While referred to almost exclusively as Longlegs, the titular killer's real name is Dale Ferdinand Cobble. Though not explicitly stated, Longlegs refers to Dale in his human form, in which he literally has long legs, as opposed to the short legs of the dolls, which if you notice, like all the dolls have these little tiny legs that are like kind of proportionate to the kid, but then they have like tiny little legs. But the actual story of the killer's nickname goes unexplained in the film, but it's actually an homage to an old nursery rhyme called Goosey Goosey Gander, with the earliest publication being in Grammar Girton's Garland, or the Nursery Parnassus, published in London in 1784. An alternate version of the nursery rhyme is known as Old Father Longlegs and goes as follows. Old Father Longlegs can't get his prayers, take him by the leg and throw him downstairs. This nursery rhyme refers to priest holes, which were hiding places for itinerant. Is that how you say it? Itinerant Catholic priests. Thank you for the one educated person here. During the persecutions under the reign of King Henry VIII, his children Edward and Queen Elizabeth, and later under Oliver Cromwell. Upon being discovered, the priest would be forcibly taken from the house, thrown down the stairs, and be tortured. Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like all those old nursery rhymes, they're like, when you dive into them a little bit.
Oh, yeah, they're all messed up.
Holy shit. But yeah, that fits perfectly with our character. So.
Just about spinning around a rose, ring around the rosy.
Yeah.
It's about a little playtime fun.
Fun time family fun.
Yeah.
It's time for the main event. Here comes the breakdown. Act 1, the setup.
Our wacky trip into the world of plastic surgery gone wrong starts with a 4x3 8mm looking red screen with the words, "Well, you're slim and you're weak. You've got the teeth of a hydra upon you. You're dirty sweet and you're my girl," which are lyrics by that kid who wondered if fish dream from Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans. Jesus fucking
You
Christ.
see me when I sleep.
No, wait, sorry. That's from a totally different thing. Quick fact, though. These are lyrics from the song Bang a Gong, Get It On by T-Rex, which is referenced several times throughout the film and was used in the film's marketing as well. In fact, many rock bands are referenced in Longlegs notes, including lyrics from the bands T-Rex and Tommy James and the Shondells.
Which I think is mostly like if you actually sat down and transcribed those notes, like, I don't know who's doing that, but
Some poor PA.
I'm sure there's somebody sitting there like, I wonder what all the notes say. All the birthday murder notes, which, was part of that website.
Yeah. The red screen fades to a car driving down a snowy road accompanied by some spooky music. We see a little girl doing homework in a dark room looking out a window. She spots the car on the road and heads outside to check it out before hearing a goofy voice in the distance doing some sort of Pokey from the Gumby Show impression. It's just an impression he just can't seem to let go of.
When I rewatched it, I realized that it was actually saying cuckoo.
Yeah.
But I did not pick that up at the first.
No.
Yeah,
Just
but I only
overwhelmed.
know from the subtitles.
She looks around at some trees that are accompanied by some unsettling string plucks from the music score before being startled by some ghoulish looking weirdo dressed in white that we only see from the neck down. He or she, whatever is politically correct nowadays, says, "There she is, the almost birthday girl. Oh, but it seems I wore my long legs today. What happens if?" Then Longlegs bends down, and for a brief moment, we see the face of Mickey Rourke and a character from the musical Cats Love Child, aka Nicolas Cage, and a disturbing amount of prosthetics, makeup. And I think he was wearing black contacts in this scene.
I think so. And that one scene, I feel like all the rest of the times he's not.
Yeah.
But in this one, I feel like they wanted to give that devil demon vibe to him for that brief second that you see his face. Which, spoilers for later in the film, I think this is the exact moment that he bent down and she took his picture. The cheese and crackers thing later on.
The title of the movie pops on the screen for a moment before being replaced by T-Rex Bang a Gong, as well as random symbols, pictures, and drawings that flash on screen for a few frames at a time. The music fades out, and we see a caption that reads, Part 1, His Letters, before cutting to Maika Monroe's character, FBI agent Lee Harker, who, along with a room full of agents, is being told to go door to door to look for a wanted subject. The lead agent says the suspect is a middle-aged Caucasian man who isn't likely to go quietly. We see Harker and her partner, Agent Giant Chin, Fisk, going door to door.
It's the fucking Moon Man.
Got a bicycle seat.
What is it? What's his
Fucking Quagmire.
Mac at Night? What's his name?
Mac at Night.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking of.
what is that name? The McDonald's Moon Man guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Mac
forget.
Tonight.
Mac
Tonight.
Oh my God. Or should I say, he goes to the door. She sits in the car quietly, looking awkward, aloof, and aspy, which is her default look throughout the entire film.
Yeah. We talked about it at some point, but Maika Monroe is not like this character at all in real life and has never really portrayed somebody who is quite this, autistic.
Yeah.
And
At least with Asperger's or something.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
vibe that you get, is that she might have Asperger's.
yeah,
It's very
and
robotic.
I think it's, based on the trauma of her childhood, which we'll get to later on. But Oz Perkins was very unsure of casting her because she just felt too vibrant, and he wasn't sure about the casting. And then she sat down and did an audition tape and sent it to him, acting out some of the scenes, and that was good enough for her to get the role. Very good actress. I would like to see her in a lot more things.
Yeah, I hope this cartwheels her into more mainstream projects because she crushed it. I mean, Holy shit.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
She killed it.
She's done
I
a
know
lot of stuff.
she had It Follows was like
Yeah.
kind of a big hit.
Yeah.
so-
I've seen her dubbed as one of the modern screen queens. So
Yeah.
she does a lot.
True.
Of, she's got a career going.
Yeah.
As Paul Schrader says, though, she's got to get out of that ghetto of horror movies.
Listen, if you want to make it in the big times, you got to make movies like Dog Eat Dog.
You got to make challenging pictures.
We shot that in Ohio. That's a horror film. Good Schrader. She seems to get a bad feeling, so she gets out of the car, looks at a house, and tells Fisk it's that one, since, as we soon find out, she's psychic. She tells Fisk he's in there and suggests they call it in, and he says they're not going to call in for backup on a hunch, so he instead decides to go knock on the door. The door opens, and Fisk is immediately shot in the face. FBI. Oh.
Hey, I was wondering if you.
Would you like to buy some
What
Girl
happens
Scout?
when you knock on the wrong door in America?
Oh shit, sorry, I didn't realize anybody was out there. Harker starts hyperventilating, but enters the house to find Dexter's kill room with plastic all over the walls throughout the house. But it's cool, since it turns out to just be where Benjamin Gates planned on doing some chemical test on the back of the Declaration of Independence. She finds a man in one of the rooms with his hands already in the air. So I guess popping one FBI agent in the face was good enough, or I don't know, maybe he just ran out of bullets. He only had one bullet for the gun.
It's left ambiguous in this of like, is this part of the whole her being protected by the devil plot that we get to later on, spoilers? Or did he just decide to spare the woman, or he had second thoughts? Or I feel like he was kind of told this isn't related to the birthday murders at all. This character, but I got the sense that this was part of the hex or whatever to get her onto the case that she gets onto right after this.
Yep. We cut to a 90s version of the baseline test they gave Detective K in Blade Runner 2049, where Agent Harker goes through some sort of psychic test where she's to state the first word that comes to mind when shown a series of pictures.
Do you long for the embrace of your lover? Within cells interlaced. I don't know what the hell that. I've seen Blade Runner 2049 30 times, but I don't know what half of that shit they're trying to like get to.
I was thinking that this morning, actually, or last night. Like, what the fuck is even the point of that in Blade Runner?
Yeah.
I think it was a
it's just
callback to the original movie. Where,
it's like a Voight Kampf, but it's for him because he's a replicant.
Yeah.
And they're trying to see if he's getting too human, and then they're probably going to kill him.
Yeah.
Or some
Yes,
Blade Runner
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, why are they doing it in this movie? Did they just like routinely subject
I think so.
FBI
Like every
agents
time
to-
they like sent him. Oh no, in this movie, yeah.
No, in this
Yeah.
movie, that's the one thing that never made sense to me. It's like, why?
Well, they wanted to test to see if she had the psychic abilities here.
Yeah, which I know the government has done remote viewing experiments and stuff, but I didn't think by the 90s they were routinely testing their FBI agents for psychic abilities.
Well,
I think it probably
maybe
was
they were.
based off the fact that she knew which house it was just by like looking at it, and she probably said it in her report or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt like I knew that he was in there.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And at around this time, there was a group of scientists out of New York that were conducting similar experiments like this that then led to them saving Manhattan from a giant marshmallow man. So it makes sense. All right, quick fact, which contains some spoilers. During the early scene in which Agent Harker is being tested for psychic abilities, all her answers foreshadow aspects of the film. Her answers include camera, which she kept Polaroid pictures that she took as a child, as well as the name of a family of victims. Piano, which is present in Young Lee's room and at the scene of the camera murders. Mother, alluding to her mother's involvement in the crimes. Father. Harker's father is never mentioned throughout the film, but this answer corresponds to the inverted triangle representing 666. This triangle is a symbol she connects with Longlegs and Satan later on, also suggesting Lee is unwittingly under the influence of Satan the entire time. And Tiger, not a direct connection, but Longlegs' bed does have like many blankets with animal print on them. Like
Just like that picture behind you.
yeah, pretty damn close to that, but there's like way more.
Not quite as sexy,
No,
but
still kind of sexy. You know?
Feels like it's the
still
same.
kind of sexy.
It feels like it's Buffalo Bill's basement.
It does.
It feels like the same room. It's got the. And he had the.
He's got the
leopard
mirror.
print. And
He did have the
or no,
leopard
it was a
print.
leopard
Yeah.
print. It was just a shawl.
me? I'd fuck me.
I'd pay good money for that scene. It'd be exactly like that Marilyn Manson music video.
Yeah.
We next cut to Harker in the back of a car with two other agents in the front seats. And Agent Carter asks if she's a baseball fan, and he says he's a Mariners fan, which I could tell you, as a lifelong Mariners fan myself, means he's horribly, horribly depressed. Which probably explains why he ends up, doing what he does later on. He goes on to say she beat the psychic test with flying colors and asked her opinion on a house where a recent murder took place. I wish he would have asked if the Mariners will ever not be the only team in Major League Baseball history without a World Series appearance. All we're asking is that they just go. They don't have to win. Just go.
They don't have to win even one game.
No.
If they just made it and then lost to the Dodgers like everybody's going to for the next 15 years, I would take that. I would take that as a win.
Too. Just a one appearance in the World Series. That's all I ask for.
That's it.
Is that too much? I'd sell my soul to Satan for that.
I sold my soul to Satan a long time ago when I started wearing Mariners stuff in the beginning,
He says a family of four lived in the house for 12 years until the father murdered his wife and kids before killing himself. Carter says the father stabbed the mother until the blade snapped off the handle, but she'll have to read about how the kids were killed in the file. It's pretty cool to have some light reading to look forward to later, I guess. Just cuddle up in bed, drink some hot cocoa.
The good book.
What else are FBI agents going to read?
Yeah.
She asks how there were 4 murder victims if it was a murder-suicide. And Carter explains that a letter was left with the bodies written in a coded alphabet written by somebody with no connection to the family. He says they found 10 letters like it over the last 30 years. And we see the letters on the screen. He says the MO is always the same and all the letters are signed with one word, Longlegs. Quick fact. Many of Longlegs' encrypted messages contain misspellings and poor grammar after being decoded. This is an homage to the Zodiac Killer, who was also known for his coded messages containing typos, which often made it more difficult to decode his messages. God, that would suck. To have been one of those cops trying to decipher it, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't even a word, dude. That'd be like me being a serial killer and trying to fucking write letters.
Hey, what the fuck does this say? Itinerant? What is this?
How do you misspell the?
Couldn't seem to sound out 17 for this guy. But he knew who Jacob Scipio is.
Who the fuck is Jacob Scipio? And this motherfucker can't even spell 17.
Who is Dostoevsky?
Oh, fuck. We cut to a dimly lit police station where Carter shows Agent Harker a wall of evidence related to the murders. He asks her what happened with her partner being killed. And she says she felt as though something was tapping her on the shoulder, telling her where to look. And Carter asks if she's had similar premonitions before, to which she confirms, the force is strong in my family. They call us Skywalker. Quick fact, the movie was originally set in 1992, but that was changed to 1993 so that Agent Carter's office would feature a presidential portrait of Bill Clinton and avoid having to show George Bush. The first one, not the second one.
Neither one were really liked, I will say.
Yeah.
By most people.
Yeah.
Except for the people who, never mind.
I don't know. The son went on to become a pretty great painter.
He's got some pretty good dog paintings. I like those. What's weird is I hated that guy as president. But he's like the most chill, relaxed president ever now. Like he's super cool.
He seems pretty normal now, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, how were we so wrong with that one? And it's not his fault.
From under the influence of Cheney.
I was going to say,
like his long legs. Yeah.
He too had the devil behind him. I could see Cheney. There he is, the homeless birthday boy.
He shoots you in the face with birdshot.
Whoops. He asks her what she sees in the wall of evidence, and she asks what the families have in common. And he says all the families have daughters whose birthdays land on the 14th of any given month. He hands her a file, and we cut to her on the floor surrounded by the evidence. Quick fact. A shadowy, horned, goat-like creature representing Satan is present throughout the film a total of 10 times, particularly when Agent Harker is investigating the satanic elements of the crimes. The creature's appearances were meant to be subliminal and not readily apparent to the audience. This is the first time we see it over Harker's shoulder while she's looking at the evidence on the ground. We'll point it out the other 9 times as they occur.
At least 10 times.
Yeah, I think there's
that were
possibly more than they're everywhere. And didn't see one of them while I was watching.
I saw
the first
one,
time.
And that was because my wife pointed it out.
I saw
But then if you go back and you look at them, they're fucking creepy. Like when you hear that they're there, it's just like, oh God.
Yeah.
I think it's just as an audience, we're trained to watch the people on screen. So when you're watching their reactions to stuff, and then it's like, all you got to do is just kind of glance at a window right next to him. And it's just right there plain as day.
Yep.
It's just creepy.
Yeah.
There's some of them that I was like shocked that I missed when I knew that they were there and I watched the movie back. Like I was like, how the fuck did I miss that?
Yep.
But it works so great because in those moments you do feel uncomfortable. Like there's an extra added like when she's cutting open the letters or like looking at the letters, like there's this weird tension, and I never knew, I couldn't figure it out until we did this, and I found out, well, it's because at one point that image is behind her, because I didn't see that one.
Well, it's also that they have tons of doorways and windows in the frames for tons of it. So you always think there's always somebody over someone's shoulder, maybe, it's a horror movie. Yeah. She's being pursued by, she thinks pursued by Longlegs. So you're always checking behind her to see what she can't see.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Leaves you unsettled and creepy.
Yeah. Just framed and shot so brilliantly. Like, that's
really well done.
Yep.
And, not something that was like 100% necessary or anything, but like adds another layer to it.
Yep.
Which I feel like there's a lot that even, after we exhaustively talk about this thing for 3 hours, we're still not even close to like unraveling all the onion pieces to this. I feel like there's a lot of little like subliminal things. Mm-hmm. Yep. Also like sound design and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the sound just makes you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. We hear a 911 call where a father explains that his daughter is not his daughter anymore, and that when she's sleeping will be the best time to do it. Apparently she fell asleep right away at that moment, because the next thing we hear is him killing her on the phone. We hear echoes of similar phone calls and flashes of several different crime scene photos, as well as blood going down a drain, which is an homage to his dad, I would imagine.
Yeah, a little psycho homage.
Mm-hmm. Agent Carter checks on Harker only to find the lazy bitch sleeping on the ground. That's your tax dollars, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder why no crimes get solved by the FBI nowadays. He tells her it's possible to look too long and says he's thirsty, so they head to a bar where he drinks while she tells him things like Tyrion Lannister. While again looking half catatonic, she explains that there's no signs of forced entry and zero evidence that Longlegs was ever in the houses of his victims. All the murders were committed by the father, and always with items from the house such as shotguns, knives, and a hammer. She hypothesizes that Longlegs might tell the family what he wants them to do, and that he might have accomplices who help orchestrate the killings. Harker drives Carter's drunk ass home, where she reluctantly goes inside to meet his family. She awkwardly greets Carter's daughter while whipping her head around like the Terminator, and Ruby, the daughter, asks if the weirdo wants to see her room, to which Harker just stares at her. Like, are we sure she's not Longlegs? Spoiler alert. When Lee meets Ruby for the first time, she's wearing a shirt with a White House on the front. This alludes to a scene later in the film when Longlegs is talking about the camera farmhouse being bright white, but Lee's house being the whitest he's ever seen. This also foreshadows Ruby being Longlegs' final victim.
Were all the houses white? Because he really makes a...
No, they're not, because in particular, that house that kicks off this whole investigation for her is colored. It's like a blue house, and it's in a neighborhood of colored houses. And then her mom even delivers a doll to like a dark blue house at one point.
I thought maybe that was like the through line, is he just chooses white houses with families that live in them.
I didn't think about that until you brought that up, because not all the houses were.
I kind of view it as like a metaphor, white for purity and stuff.
Yeah.
So he likes to find the most pure families he can find and corrupt them into doing this horrible shit. And maybe hers was because her mom was a nurse and was doing good things for people, single mom raising a daughter or whatever. Maybe that's why it was the whitest house he had ever seen.
Could be. Yeah.
It's kind of another thing that I didn't really think about is Lee and Ruth are the only family that Longlegs goes after that don't. It's not like a full family, like a mom and dad and a kid.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Is that symbolic? Like, does that have meaning? Is that why Ruth, I wouldn't say forgiven or spared, but is that why he allowed her to become his accomplice?
Makes you wonder, like, what happened to the dad and why the dad is never referenced one time.
Yeah.
By the way, they like to be called blue Americans, not colored houses.
I knew you were gonna make a joke about that. Houses with multiple colors on them, blue, yellow, all that stuff. Oh, God damn it! Just digging myself deeper.
All the colors under the rainbow, you know. It's all good. It's all good.
In Ruby's room, Harker looks around like Rain Man before asking why a trophy has no head, then asks if she ever gets into a crib in the room. Ruby says, Dad says he wants to keep some of my old stuff around so I don't grow up too fast, but I'm going to grow up anyway. Even Veals grow a little, and they live in a box with their legs all tied up and everything. It's a perfectly normal thing to say to a creepy stranger without human emotions. Yeah.
Hey, I know I just met you, but you ever think about how veal are just like trapped in a box and don't get to grow? And
That feels like something
okay.
the screenwriter wrote. It's like, oh, this is a good line. I really like this.
yeah.
And then he gives it to the wrong character to say it.
I mean, it also kind of feels like something a kid might think, like once they find out about veal.
True.
Yeah.
True.
It just feels oddly profound and also phrased very weirdly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think is intentional to tie into the dolls and then also to tie into what's going to come and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Ruby asks what Lee wanted to be when she was a little girl, and she says she wanted to be an actress. Ruby asks if it's scary being a lady FBI agent, and Harker says, yeah. Yeah, it is. Agent Carter's wife, Steve Rogers, Anna, breaks up this fun little conversation and says it's time for bed. And Ruby asks if Lee can come to her birthday party. And Michael Myers says, I'll be there, after slowly turning her head to the kid. Oh, God.
She really has that vibe of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Kind of that.
She's just a blank stare.
Yes, I will.
Robotic movements. At home, Harker seems to have another premonition while staring into the darkness before heading inside the log cabin or wherever it is she lives and whatever she lives in.
It's just like that kind of wood paneling from the 90s, but I don't know.
But it's not.
Her house feels very different from every other location that we go to in the whole movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kind of like spooky because it's in the woods. Yeah.
It's like log cabin chic. I guess I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we talked about this offline, but you know, the fear of the unknown, having all the freaking windows open in this scene when it's in the middle of the night, like none of us would ever do that.
No. I don't even do that. And I don't live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's partially because I know that people can see in because I'm in a city. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like the house in Mandy, where like the wall of their bedroom is nothing but windows.
Nothing but windows.
Yeah.
Out into the woods.
Which was also intentional. So I got to assume that this was intentional in this case too.
Yeah. We see her sitting at a desk calling her mom in the middle of the night or possibly early morning. It's ambiguous.
Yeah. It's early morning, I think.
Yeah.
She just took a shower. Yeah.
Like she got home. We know it was after midnight when she was at Carter's house. So, you know, and the sun's not up yet. So it's just probably close to dawn.
Yeah.
I guess we know it's close to dawn because after this, she goes to a crime scene and it's daylight.
True.
It's dawn.
True. It's winter in Pacific Northwest, so it doesn't start getting light till about 7 o'clock. So this could be 6 o'clock, 6:30 even, and it could be that dark out.
Yeah.
Just getting ready for work.
Yeah.
I guess it could have been that.
Yeah. Her mom asks what she's doing, and she screams, "I'm making my lunch!" while smashing a pile of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. No, sorry, that was something completely different. But the scene felt very similar for some very reason.
I don't know why. Like it does. Like as soon as I saw that her at that desk in the like dim light, I just thought of Crispin Glover smashing those sandwiches.
I'm making my lunch!
Lee asks why it took her mom so long to answer the phone, and rather than say, "Bitch, it's still dark out," she says she's trying to go through some stuff and asks if Lee is okay.
One thing I noticed, it took Lee a really long time to get to the phone from the basement later on in the film, spoilers. So I got to wonder if Ruth was down in the basement with Longlegs.
Maybe.
And that's why it took her so long to answer the phone.
Yeah, could be.
Though he's there.
But he's
Right.
there, right?
She's probably helping him set up stuff. He delegated something to her.
Yeah, true.
Put it on Trello. Assigned her a task on Asana.
He's slacking her. Hey, have you
He's
finished?
slacking her.
Got their swim lane set up with all their tasks.
You up 666.
I'm thinking about making some eggs. You want some?
Just has a whole bunch of custom gifts that he puts in. It's just the devil. It's just that vision of the devil showing up.
Harker says she can't sleep since there's a lot on her mind from work, and her mom asks if it's about nasty stuff, which is a similar conversation I've had with my mom. But she was saying, quit looking at nasty stuff and go to bed. Lee's mom, Ruth, says she used to be a nurse, so she's seen her fair share of nasty stuff like that. The time some guy wore a butt plug in the MRI machine. Turned his insides into soup.
True story.
This keeps happening. There's another case that happened recently of some lady that wore one and ended up in her freaking chest cavity.
God. Could you imagine?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb.
I mean, I wasn't saying, can you imagine being the person who had the butt plug in? I mean,
Yes, I
being
can
the
imagine
one
that.
who's like running the MRI machine. You're like, what
I
the
can't
fuck?
imagine flipping a switch and having it instantly just rip up through your body and kill you.
It said there was no metal. I'm suing. Why would you wear it in the first place? Get an MRI for Christ's sake.
Oh, fuck. Lee says she thinks she just needs to be quiet for a little bit. And her mom says Lee has a birthday coming up. What in the name of autism does that mean? Be quiet for a little bit.
Just a little quiet time. She called her.
You called me.
Yeah.
Suddenly we hear a quiet cough in the background, which startles Lee, and she quickly gets off the phone. Suddenly there's a loud pounding at her door. Harker grabs her gun and slowly makes her way to open it. She looks through the peephole and doesn't see anyone, so she makes sure the little chain lock thingy is secure. Always keeps the boogeyman out for me. Something that can break with a quick kick to the door.
Like locking the door with like a piece of tinfoil.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be better off using super glue. She turns on an outside light and spots a figure in the woods, and just above the figure we catch our second subtle glimpse of the devil, just above the figure's head, somewhat blending into the trees. Harker runs outside to confront the creeper in the woods, but once outside, she sees someone in her house, so she runs back inside. In the house, she's scared out of her mind, somewhat hyperventilating, while looking for the figure, but rather than finding they/them, she spots an envelope on her desk with her name written on it, and the instructions do not open until January 14th.
Act 2, The Conflict.
We see the caption, Part 2, All of Your Things, before cutting to Harker using a switchblade to open the envelope. What's the All of Your Things referencing? I don't really get. First one was his letters, right? Was the part one?
All of your things could refer to like her stuff that is in her room still? Like,
Yeah.
because like Ruth said that she kept all of her things.
Yeah, that's it.
True.
It's all part of her past, which comes back around. It makes sense. Okay, cool. One of those layers. Inside she finds a birthday card with a cipher key for Longlegs coded letters and a letter from him on the back with fresh ink. It's pretty rude not to wait till the date on the envelope, but whatever. See him in the car with a fountain pen. Making sure
He's
it's
got
completely
like
fresh.
a quill.
Yeah. Which is like, how did he get it in the envelope without smearing the shit out of it? I guess
know,
he folded
He's
it
a
up.
tactician, dude.
It's an old pro.
Yeah. It would have been funny if she just pulled it out and it was all smeared. Just couldn't read
Smears
it.
all over them. What the hell is this supposed to say?
She quickly deciphers the letter, which reads, "Tell them how you got this, how it came into your head. I'll cut off her hanging milk tits and bleed your mommy dead." And again, we see the faint appearance of the devil in the doorway behind her as she reads the letter, which you guys missed since we're picturing Nicolas Cage milking mommy tits. I guess I missed it too. No, I did miss it. Actually, yeah, we all missed it. I missed it. So this is the one my wife pointed out. She was like, "Oh, did you see that?" And it's really creepy when you watch it because it's like it like fades in and then fades out. Well,
It's that one feels like it's physically there though. That
Standing in
one's
the
one of the
doorway,
creepiest ones. Yeah.
all the rest of them are usually like in a window or something looking through, but this is like he's in the doorway right behind her in the same room.
Yeah. Like right over her shoulder. It's just
Yeah.
unsettling. And you don't notice it until later. And then you're like, why did it feel so unsettling? Well, that's why.
Yeah. Lee gets a call during all of this from her mom, which is picked up by the answering machine asking what's wrong. And then she gets a call from Agent Carter, who asks her what would have happened if Steve Rogers hadn't gone into the ice in 1945. Sorry, it's a different Agent Carter again. He tells her to come in, and we quickly cut to Harker arriving at a crime scene. Carter explains that the family was planning a trip to Disneyland, so no one checked on them, and that they've been dead for a month. It shows Harker another letter, which she immediately deciphers, much to Carter's shock, while she confirms that the girl in the family's birthday was on the 14th of December. By the way, we should mention the film is set in mid-January, so they've been dead for a month. He asks how she figured out the cipher, and she says, "I only looked long enough, sir." It's the same thing I say when someone catches me checking out their junk at the urinals. Doesn't take long.
What are you doing? I only looked long enough, sir. Not for me.
Next, we get a fun, long look at decaying bodies of the family who've been under a blanket for a month. And then they show a cat in a carrier that hisses. It's just the cat's been eating them. So that's what they're implying by that, I guess.
I think when they pull the sheet off, like the face is kind of like looks like it's been gnawed off a little bit.
Yeah, there's also maggots covering it, but then it's like, so the maggots could have eaten it, but yeah, it's just like cats will 100% eat you within days.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, they seem like your friends, but
I don't know. Like I forget to feed my cat, and I feel like they're only minutes away from when they come over to you and they sit on you or whatever and stare at you. Like they're just gonna take a bite out of you.
that nose looks edible.
God, just think about that. You're only like a day away from your cat eating you. When you think of how much they actually might love you.
Yeah,
It's all a
they're our
ruse.
best buds. Yep, they're just using us.
Yeah. What is it? Every society is 3 meals away from a revolution. Every cat is 3 meals away from eating its owner. Anyway, then cuts to Lee calling her mom again in the middle of the night from a payphone in like a high school or something. I don't know where she is.
I don't know.
I thought it was the office, but why would she be using a payphone in the lobby of the FBI office?
Could it be the
don't know.
library? No, because she's not there yet. Never mind.
Maybe it is. Maybe she's.
I mean, potentially, like, because I would assume that the murders are spread out around Oregon.
Yeah.
True.
Then maybe they're traveling and they're just using places as makeshift offices.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It could be.
I don't know.
Anyway, it was a different world before cell phones.
Yeah.
They go find a payphone wherever.
Yep.
But anyway, every one of these calls between her and her mom are awkward and unnerving for some reason. There's lots of dead silence and breathing, and then there's like static. Like the subtitles are, they always call up, there's like static or some hissing noise or something in the background, just so you get that there's something going on. And I think it's supposed to be there's someone listening in on all of them, keeping tabs on Ruth and her mom, and her daughter Lee and her mom. Lee explains that she's going to be busy with work, so probably won't be able to make it home to visit. And after some more uncomfortable silence, breathing and swallowing, Ruth says, "Be careful they don't work you too hard." To which Lee says they put her on something important. And it's good. It's good. When pressed for details, Lee says she wouldn't want to hear about it. And Ruth again says, "Not nice things."
I forget where she says it, but I know Ruth does say she calls her the almost birthday girl on. I feel like it's on one of these phone calls.
I think it's when she goes.
It's the first call.
Was it the first call?
I thought it was, but I think she reminds her on the first call.
Oh yeah, because that's how we find out that she has a birthday coming up. Yep.
Ruth asks if Lee will be home for her birthday the following week, and Lee says that she'll try. And then Ruth asks if she's still saying her prayers and that they will help protect her from the devil. Lee says she knows and tells her she'll call her later before hanging up on her. We cut to Lee doing more research on the former victims, where we see a clipping about a father saying the devil made him do it, and a story about a satanic cult on the Oregon coast. Yeah, she's looking at like microfiches, right? So maybe she was in the library. So
it must have been.
It must have, yeah.
So this is like right before she went in and to that library and started doing research. Yeah.
He was in the lobby of the library calling her mom. Rob and Pig tried to warn us about the dangers of the Oregon coast, but we didn't listen. She discovers the connection between the dates of the murders and an upside-down triangle symbolizing 666, Satan, Lucifer, who we see again in the window before cutting away from the library for the fourth time.
Yeah, right between the bookshelves. Mm-hmm. We see it like right in the window. It's like perfectly framed center, and you still miss it.
I missed it. I wonder what the shot is. That's the whole point of the shot. You're just looking down an aisle.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it.
Right out the window. It's like super obvious when you watch it back.
Lee then tells Carter the dates are an algorithm Longlegs uses to pick his victims. She says that he decoded all of the letters, and one thing that was repeated through all of them was the phrase referencing a fine time we had at the Camera family farm where X marked the spot. A little bit of fun time, family fun. She tells Carter the details of the Camera family murder, where a priest came to visit them and was brutally murdered by the father with an axe. Then he killed his wife and finally himself. But in this case, the daughter survives since she was at school at the time.
We sort of talked about this one at some point too. It's like, if we're going by the rationale of all the other murders where the kid dies too, the reason that Carrie Ann survives is because the priest stopped by in the middle of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess knowing that, you'd know that Ruth was there. So the priest probably showed up and was like, "Who's this nun? I don't know who this is."
Yeah. Yeah.
The murders all happened within 6 days of the daughter's birthday, and Lee hypothesizes that Longlegs was at the farm. Possible that the daughter, Carrie Ann, saw him there. Carter asks why there's been no murder on the 13th, which is the only day missing to complete the triangle, and she says that she's not sure, but says it's 3 days from now, so they might find it out. Foreshadowing. Carter asks if Carrie Ann is still alive, and Harker says she's in a mental institution, so they head to visit the farm before meeting with her. They arrive at the farm at either dawn or dusk during a thunderstorm, which seems to be a constant of this film, never quite knowing what time it is. It's probably, again, to make us uncomfortable as an audience.
I think it's supposed to be dusk.
Yeah.
Because the next, we see the coroner thing, but that,
there's sunlight coming in through the windows in the top of the barn. I feel like they were talking in the office when it was dark out. So maybe it's dawn, like when she was talking with Carter. It's ambiguous, I guess, but
I don't know.
That's what I remembered it because I like that shot when they go into the barn. It's all dark except the two windows like eyes, and there's sunbeams looking down on the floor on them.
Yeah.
They search the property before they find some X's, which are all sideways crucifixes on a barn door. And inside they find more X's, which lead them to a loft and finally to a spot on the floor where they discover a creepy ass lifelike doll in a box with a piece of paper on top of it that only has an inverted triangle with a smiley face in the middle of it. A little winky emoji. In an autopsy room, a coroner explains that the doll is handmade with porcelain and human hair and was just beautifully made by a highly skilled craftsman. Well, he gives off some really creepy pedophile vibes.
She's handmade, that's for sure. And beautifully handmade at that. Porcelain head, hands and feet. Unbleached canvas body, cotton stuffing. The hair is human, what's left of it. All in all, it's beautifully made by a highly skilled craftsman.
So beautiful.
So good. Oh, the mouth is so lifelike.
God damn it.
It's got an elastic anus.
The legs are short. They don't get in the way, you know.
God damn it.
Carter asks about some metal ball, and the coroner says that it was inside the doll. Carter asks what it is, and he says that's just the strongman's metal ball from Phantasm. Don't worry about it.
Cross the line.
Actually, he says it's the brain, but it's hollow. And then he puts on some sort of doohickey up to it, which I think makes it vibrate and makes this crazy noise that triggers some flashes in Lee's head. I think it's supposed to be an ultrasound paddle.
I have no idea.
It makes sense with the sound, although you can't hear ultrasounds because it's ultrasound. So,
well, it like vibrates the ball, and that.
Yeah, I guess that's how you would know it was hollow because he put an ultrasound up to it without cutting it open.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know if that works on metal, but whatever.
I don't know. Out of the three of us, you're the only one who would know how an ultrasound really works.
Well,
It was definitely an ultrasound paddle, but I don't know if it would work with metal. Well, during these flashbacks or flashes or whatever they are, we see snakes and then a doll staring into a mirror in a dimly lit room. And then we see that Longlegs is the one crafting it. And he says, "What's your name, little angel?" And then says, "Nice to meet you, Carrie Ann." And then he says, "I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark," before whispering, "Because you are the dark."
spot on.
He covers the doll with a sheet, and we flash back to Harker in the autopsy room where the coroner says, "The other night I could have sworn it was whispering my ex-wife's name over and over again." So I guess this means that it's the next day, at least.
I don't
like
know.
They brought the doll in and then came back to the coroner. He probably had other important stuff to do, like actual autopsies, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some actual children on the autopsy table that he had to deal with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. No, he had to examine it. I mean, do an autopsy of.
Sorry, maybe I'm the only one who got that, but guy felt really creepy.
It just makes why is he influenced by this doll? Like, it doesn't seem like it has any connection to him, but I guess it shows that they sort of influence anybody who comes in contact with them.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was what we're supposed to get from his creepy "I'm going to have sex with this doll" vibe, was that he is under the influence of, whatever is.
It's got him thinking about his ex. I wonder why he got divorced.
God damn it. He's gonna
when he had to register
the fucking ground, huh?
When he had to register and go door to door, that was the breaking point.
Nigel, what's
I wonder if that's just supposed to mean it's getting him to start thinking about killing his ex, I guess, or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I took away from it.
Carter asks if the brain can be opened up, which the doctor says, yes, but there's nothing in it, so it probably won't help their case. It's just nonchalant. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Maybe it's just us, but we don't think this dude should be left alone with the doll.
He's definitely going to put that metal ball up his ass later.
I wonder if he was already under the influence of the thing and didn't want to open the ball because he knew that once he opened the ball, the power would go away or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Or it's just, he's like, don't worry about it. Because he's trying to throw him off the case, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, Carter and Harker head to the mental institution to meet with Carrie Ann. But first we cut to a white car driven by our titular Longlegs, blasting some tunes before walking into a hardware store with an apathetic teenager working at the counter. Longlegs grabs a couple items, and then when he brings them to the desk, the girl says, "Can I help you with anything else today?" Prompting him to put his hands over his head and in front of his eyes and say, "Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo," while lifting his hands to reveal his eyes like that.
Yeah.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo.
Yeah. We've said it a million times, but like Nick Cage somehow does something that I've never seen another human being do ever in every role that he takes. I've never seen anybody do it quite like that. It's always kind of like peekaboo.
Yeah.
Not like this. Also cuckoo instead of peekaboo.
It doesn't seem like the cuckoo has anything to do with the character. Maybe Cage made it up. I don't know.
Maybe.
I just feel like some weird thing. They rolled with it.
I feel like he did cuckoo in this, and then they ended up adding cuckoo into that other scene later on.
Took one of the cuts of it.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
Cuckoo. Imagine hearing that on the wind behind you. Oh God.
Oh God.
I want for the final stinger to be edit some other Nick Cage sound effect into the like the boo on the wind. That's what you. The girl's obviously dealt with this nutcase before and says, "I don't know what that's supposed to be." And the cuckoo says, "And what day is your birthday, little angel?" Well, sounding like he has a deviated septum or something. I don't know. I have to make fun of my sinuses like that. Yeah.
I think I feel like it must have been something where Cage was like breathing weird in the prosthetics, and he just decided to make it part of the character. Like,
just plug
he'd
his
had
nose.
plastic surgery on his nose and couldn't breathe quite right. Because he does that in every scene.
Mm-hmm. God's his way to mask his voice. Just plug his nose so he talks differently.
Yeah, true.
Has to change how he talks.
I wonder if because every time we see Longlegs, he has his mouth open.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Cage actually did plug his nose.
Yeah, I imagine. Something like that. She's had enough of this weirdo shit and says, "Daddy, that gross guy's back again," to presumably the store owner off screen. And we cut to Longlegs driving again, where he stares out the window with his mouth open before screaming, "Daddy! Mommy! Unmake me and save me from this hell of living!"
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That was awesome.
Just missing that like tremolo at the end. Almost like he was singing a rock song, but I looked it up and it's like when I type in "Daddy, Mommy, Unmake Me and Save Me from the Hell of Living," the only thing that comes up is Longlegs.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it was like lyrics to another T-Rex song or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but I guess it's just his own making.
Yeah. Same with the weird rhyme that he says about coming back multiple times later on.
Daddy! Mommy! Unmake me! And save me from the hell of living!
Just makes me wonder if he was like, we talked about it. What's his story? Was he a musician that sold his soul to the devil or something? And this is the hell that he's got to go through now?
Kind of what I think is like he got really into the satanic rock in the 80s and was a musician, and then tried to get plastic surgery so that he would look better as a front man, and then everything went wrong, and then he got influenced by the devil, and everything falls into place from there.
I mean, they seem to imply that whoever's doing his work doesn't want to do his work, and they get kind of roped into it for one reason or another.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later, I guess. We cut to the warden or whatever at the institution, who's a super flamboyant weirdo straight out of a David Lynch film, who explains that Carrie Ann has been catatonic and slumped in a chair for years. But the previous day, she got a visit for the first time, and that this guy can remember. And suddenly, she regained consciousness like a switch was flipped in her head.
This guy is really strange, but
He's got one scene and
kind of awesome. Yeah, he steals the scene. Whoever this guy is, I don't know if this was on paper like this or if he just showed up and was like, how about I dress in a bow tie?
Then yesterday, she gets a visitor, and I've never seen that happen either.
Felt kind of Coen Brothers-esque.
It does, yeah.
Some random character.
Harker checks the log, and the visitors sign their name as Lee Harker. And then she asks, like, did you check IDs? And he's like, how does he say it? I can't remember. It's funny, though. It's like, it would.
Well, that does sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
But no, we don't. Lee cut to Lee questioning Carrie Ann, who seems to recognize Lee, and says that Lee has been to Carrie Ann's house before. Lee asks if Carrie Ann remembers her parents, and she says, they didn't know what to do with themselves. Then we flash to Carrie Ann as a child, and we see the doll Longlegs made. Carrie Ann explains that her mom never liked her since she came out wrong as a baby, and we see her mom strip and slash open her stomach with a knife, but I don't think she actually cuts it. She just drags it up and stares at the doll or just a camera or whatever.
Yeah,
she just wants attention.
Yeah.
She just wants attention. She's on diet pills.
Then it cuts to her mom stabbing the doll in the stomach, which you can't quite tell it's a doll at first. It looks like she just stabs her daughter in the stomach. And then the dad shows dad sitting in the living room with the doll on his lap. We cut to the dad chopping the head off of a cow, RFK Jr. style, strapping it to the top of the car and driving off. Anyway, just cutting the head off a cow and then killing the preacher. And then Carrie Ann's mom, while she explains that her dad was a good man and that's why he'd done it.
Was he a good man because he followed the logic of Satan, or was he a good man because he killed the preacher, thus saving Carrie Ann from being killed?
Yeah.
Because I think the preacher broke up, spoilers, Ruth being there with the doll. And,
yeah.
I feel like there's a shot of the preacher like looking and asking who this is or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So it's Ruth off camera.
Yeah.
And then he comes in with the axe and hits him and then comes after his wife.
Mm-hmm. And then he kills himself, presumably, after that.
Yeah. Which I think we've talked about, well, I guess we'll get to it. Like when Carter's going through it, he's crying. So it's like there's some sense of they can tell what they're doing is wrong, and maybe her dad was able to stop it and do it fast enough to save his daughter, I guess. I don't know. Well, he asks Carrie Ann about the visitor she had, and she says, gosh, I don't ever want to forget him. I was just waiting for him to come and get me, to come and tells me something to do for him. Or even better, do something for the man down the stairs. And boy, I just want to do whatever he says me to do. Like if and he tells me to take a jumpy out a window, I surely do. Just happy as peaches to go watch the ground as it come up to meet me. Or if he told me to kill you right there in this here room and with my bare hand, I surely do. It's so hard to read this.
I know. It's hard to describe, transcribe it as well.
Yeah. Just happy as peaches to watch your heart go pop and your eyes go all to blood. Turn into Southern Gollum. Lee awkwardly swallows a couple of times and then just kind of glosses over all that insane shit she just said while asking if she remembers seeing a special doll that looked like her, to which Carrie Ann says, no, and you don't remember neither, you dirtsy, flirtsy old angel bitch. Dirtsy, flirtsy old angel bitch. Filthy, tricksy, false Hopkinses. We cut to a bathroom where Agent Harker is having a bit of a panic attack because I'm guessing, to quote another classic bathroom panic attack scene, her stomach is doing hula hoops around her ass. We cut to our boy or girl or whatever the film's going with, Longlegs, in a candlelit room reading, and we see his doll making room that Harker saw in her vision. This time, it's accompanied by yet another subtle glimpse of the devil who slowly fades in the corner. We cut back to Harker, seemingly realizing something while staring at herself in the mirror, but we'll save that reveal for a bit later. And we cut to Agent Carter painting a Union Jack on a shield. It's the wrong Agent Carter. Again. Carter tries to rationalize why Longlegs would come visit Carrie Ann 20 years later, sign his name as the agent who is chasing him, and leave Carrie Ann's brain significantly less fried than it was for the last 20 years. Harker links her coming out of her catatonia the same day they found the doll and suggests that the doll contains some sort of power that makes it work, and tries to convince her FBI agent boss that magic exists. Carter argues that Longlegs is just a man and then questions how this serial killer knows who she is. She says she doesn't know, and when pressed about what she's not telling him, she refrains from talking about Longlegs' threat to cut off her mom's tits or whatever. Carter says that he revisited her file and asks when was the last time that Lee talked to her mom. Parker's taken aback, or should I rephrase that, since what we get is that she's taken aback by the question through whatever aspie facial tic she's capable of emoting. Carter says Ruth called in a police report the day before Lee's 9th birthday, which is on the 14th like all the other victims, and gave a description of a trespasser who was tall and pale. All of this is news to Agent Harker, who seems to again be hiding something, or again, she's just incapable of showing human emotions. Carter asks if she remembers seeing the man, and Spock says, "I don't know, sir." And then he suggests that she go see her mom to question her about the trespasser.
I just put together that Liu's death was supposed to happen on the 13th, which is, you know, potentially the first victim of this whole thing. Or
like,
I don't know.
Longlegs shows up with the doll to give it over. It's your almost birthday girl, and then her mom ruins it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
So her mom sacrifices herself to his bidding in order to save her, which means that we still need a victim on the 13th on down the line.
And I guess through numerology, it just loops around to becoming the last victim. But it was going to do it on the 13th and then follow some pattern, and then we just have to, you know, mess that one up. So now we just do the other ones and come back around to the 13th.
Mm-hmm. Act 3, The Resolution.
We see Lee arrive at her mom's house where she finds her equally spaced out, semi-catatonic looking mom sitting on her bed. She gives Lee that prototypical white person smile that people, you know, guys give each other when they're on hiking trails, you know. That thing. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about, because we've all done it or been on the other side of it. They give each other a hug, and Ruth asks Lee to tell her the honest truth as to whether she's been saying her prayers or not. Lee tells her that she doesn't and never has, not even once, because they scared her, which I guess is partially why this is happening, like because she hasn't been praying to God or whatever. I kind of wonder if, like, maybe there is a part of Ruth that's still there, and she wanted to try and protect Lee by having her pray to God. I think so. Yeah. Ruth stares at her for a long beat before she starts laughing like a witch, or like that little kid from David Lynch's Dune with the knife.
God damn it.
R.I.P. David Lynch. Lee asks, "What's so funny?" And Ruth says, "Prayers don't do a goddamn thing anyway." Fucking blasphemer. Lee whips up something in the kitchen, which I have to wonder, like, what she was making. Just boiling some bread. I don't know.
Making her lunch.
But Lee spots a treasure trove of mind-numbing drugs and needles in a box nearby. She's like, she blasphemes there too. You know, she's like, Jesus Christ, Mom.
Acid made by a man with a pet tiger.
Oh, they got to you. Harker suddenly sees a beetle or something stroll into the kitchen from under a locked door next to the kitchen, which Lee almost seems like she doesn't even know what that door is or something. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, like almost like she's seen it for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, you know, goes back to the under the influence thing.
Yep.
When she sees the beetle, it triggers another vision of some snakes, which is like, it's always like a boa constrictor in all of these shots, which I guess just represents the devil. I don't know. That was one of my questions.
Is it one of the snakes white? Like, is it?
I don't know.
I thought it was like a boa, and there's a second snake that it shows, but I thought it was like a white.
Oh, is it a different one?
I think so. I think there's two that it always shows. I don't know. The devil and Longlegs, maybe.
Yeah,
he kind of does the whole
several times
when he's doing the thing like a snake. So maybe it's supposed to be like him.
He's doing his Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance move. So we see the snakes, and then we flash back to Lee in the kitchen and get another glimpse of the devil, which is in the window of like the door behind her, which very, very subtle. Like you just see it for a second, and then it flashes to her and her mom when they were both younger. Ruth tells young Lee she got someone to cover her shift for her birthday, which I got the sense that she was a single mom at this point. already. I don't know if her dad like died or what, but we never get that answer. But we cut to Ruth in the bathroom cleaning blood off of a blouse before a car pulls up outside. The timeline here is really confusing. I'm not really sure if the blood was from her job as a nurse or if it was from, spoilers as we see, the murders that she carries out for Longlegs. I don't know. But Ruth is like cleaning blood off of her blouse in the bathroom, and then she hears somebody pull up outside. Ruth worriedly tries to call the police, but there's nothing but devil whispers on the line. Devil whispers, just static and stuff.
It could be a flash forward, I guess, to where she's already helping him. Because we know he lives there, spoilers. So maybe he shows up and she tries to call the cops, but can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
maybe she's snapping out of it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like she's fighting against the control constantly, but can't get out of it.
Yeah. We see her load a double barrel shotgun, which reminded me of that scene from Mad Dog and Doggy Dog. The telemarketer calls. He slams the phone down. We cut back again to Lee, who is trying to open the door that the beetle came out from under, or whatever that was, a cockroach, I don't know, but is stopped by her mom calling for her. Ruth creepily says, "I can't believe it's going to be your birthday again so soon. What a day that was. I bled and bled and bled and bled and bled." Goes on for a really long time before Lee interrupts her mom's psychotic rambling by asking if she remembers Lee's 9th birthday. This causes Ruth to close her eyes as if she's like, it felt like she was realizing that Lee is on to like what actually happened and is starting to put things together. But she closes her eyes as if she's in pain for an uncomfortably long time before saying, "No, I don't think so. I don't remember anything, do you?" Ruth finally opens her eyes, which are teary. So Lee asks what happened on that day. We get the sense everybody who's under the control of the devil is in some way still there. So I think this was Lee kind of there, but not really at the same time. Lee asks what happened on that day, and Ruth turns her head and just says, "Nope." Which is the exact same way that I answer my doctor when he asked me why my cholesterol's so high. Nope. We're not going to talk about this.
Carrie
I eat what I want. What?
Carrie Ann did the same thing.
Oh, she said nope.
She said, "Nope, give it to you."
Lee asks what the hell she means by no, and Ruth says, "It's just the way it sounds, baby girl." Lee confronts her about calling the police and filing a police report about a trespasser, which causes Ruth to start kind of rocking around back and forth while saying, "No one ever came to visit us. Not any family, no strangers, no big bad wolves, no anybody." Ruth says little girls shouldn't know about this kind of stuff. And Lee says she's not little anymore, prompting Ruth to kind of start yelling at her. She says, "You're not a child anymore because you were allowed to grow up." Then she says, "This is a cruel world, especially for the little things," which is, I swear, a line directly taken from Raising Arizona when he's like blasting the lizard off of the rock. I feel like it was an intentional homage.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Ruth says she has tried to forget everything she could possibly forget for both of their sakes by doing heroin or whatever the hell she's doing there. I don't know what that is. I don't know my drugs, so you guys can.
Yeah.
If it's morphine or something, I don't know.
There was like little rocks, so
yeah.
I don't know if that's supposed to be heroin or crack or whatever.
She also says that she never threw anything away, which is pretty evident by her hoarder house, and that all of Lee's things are in her room, which she pronounces, "It's all in your room," or however. She has a really weird accent.
Yeah,
throughout the film. Room. We cut to
Maybe
Lee
it's just
opening.
supposed to be like she's been isolated from people for decades, so she doesn't really.
I don't know.
And
I
she
mean, they
doesn't
kind of did
talk
the
a
same
lot.
thing with
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, where she talks all
Yeah,
weird.
well, maybe it's supposed to be that to mirror that. Like she's basically been under the influence of the devil and kept away from people, so she just sort of was losing the ability to say words properly.
Mm-hmm. We cut to Lee opening a box with the words "Lee's first tampon" written on it. Sorry, no.
God damn it.
We see that Lee's childhood bedroom is the same room that we saw the little girl spotting Longlegs' car from in the opening of the scene. I was just saying, she did say that she never throws anything away. So, that's an important memory.
God damn it.
Her house is remarkably clean for a hoarder, if you think about
it. It is. I've seen some fucked up hoarder videos and stuff, and they're way worse than her mom's.
She doesn't have like random Hungry Man boxes all over the kitchen and diapers in the bathroom and stuff like that. So there's that. Lee has a vision of herself as a child opening a chest in her room, which is kind of like off to the corner. And in the darkness of the doorway, we again see the devil hiding in the shadows, which I think is the hardest one to spot. Like, I'm not even 100% positive that it's there. It was just called out. But at one point I paused it and I swear I could see the silhouette, but it was like in the grain of the film. I don't know. Lee takes the chest home to her log cabin house, wherever the house that we saw her in earlier. And inside she finds a box of Polaroids, one of which contains an image of Longlegs that was taken the second after his face came into view from the opening scene of the film. This triggers some sort of Mandy-esque psychedelic vision, which terrifies Lee, and suddenly she remembers that ghoulish weirdo saying, "Cheese and crackers," while having his picture taken. Young Ruth spots Lee talking to a melted wax figure in the yard and asks why the hell this creepy freak is talking to her kid. Longlegs uses his hands to control some imaginary marionette puppets or something, and then starts singing, "Let me in now, and it can be nice. Let me go now." And I'm not going to sing it. I'm just going to play the clip.
Let me in now, and it can be nice. Make me go now, and I have to come back. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like.
Starting to see why his band didn't do so well.
Yeah.
All of that in like a crazy high falsetto voice with like echo and reverb and a little tremolo. It's just batshit insane. I'm like super convinced that Longlegs was the original leader of the Children of the New Dawn from Mandy, but he was too weird looking, or he got his face all messed up from plastic surgery. They brought in pretty boy Jeremiah Sands to take over the band. We cut away from that utter insanity to Lee driving to find Agent Carter, whose Mariners have still never made it past the American League Championship Series in 47 years. God damn, man.
They're cursed.
They're cursed. Lee hands him the photo of Longlegs, and he asks if she's sure that she wants to do a full manhunt based just on this picture. And I'm like, how hard would it be to find that guy?
Yeah. Right.
Have you seen this 100% unique creature that nobody else has ever looked like ever? We cut to Longlegs' basement doll making room that we saw earlier. Where we see his bed. Again, this time he's not in it. A new doll brain in the corner, and finally a doll face, which fades to his own face. And he's standing at a bus stop, and we get our first really good look at him 70 minutes into the film, something like that. Anyways, he looks like Lady Fairchild from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and Gene Simmons from Kiss had a child who was really into powdering up their face like an English dandy from the 1700s. Best description I can give.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Honestly, like we've said throughout, there's just no sign of Nick Cage, especially in this shot. He's completely gone. And this is coming from three freaks who have sat and watched 50 plus Nick Cage performances scene by scene. He's just not there. It's just it's a different human, mostly because of the prosthetics, though.
Yeah.
I think you can kind of like see the lips and a little bit of the chin, maybe, but It's just a completely different person. We suddenly hear several sirens and a helicopter, which we never actually see, coming from the distance. And as they arrive, Longlegs puts his briefcase and suitcase down. Why is he carrying a briefcase around?
It's his ukulele case.
He's going to tiptoe through the tulips.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
And then he like puts his hands up in the air as if he knew this was all coming. It's, more foreshadowing, which reminded me of Seven when John Doe walks into the police station and gives himself up. Some horrible actor / FBI agent says, "Sir, I'm going to need you to get down on the fucking ground." To Longlegs kind of from off the side of the shot.
Yeah.
Like this is obviously shot 2 different times. His scene was clearly shot separate from these day player FBI agents who never show up again.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to get down on the fucking ground.
Then Longlegs kind of like fidgets around before cutting to him on a video camera, which is really unforgiving of all the bumpy makeup, and it just looks really gross. We finally hear Longlegs' name, which is Dale Ferdinand Cobble, and he says he'll only speak to Agent Harker. They ask how he knows who she is, and he says, "A friend of a friend of a friend. And this friend wants me to say, 'Happy birthday, Lee Harker.' And he wants you all to know that he'll be there, and you'll be there, and you'll be there, and you'll be there." If you watch when he looks in different directions on the camera, like through the video on the TV, he looks directly at Agent Carter, and then he looks directly at Agent Browning, and then he looks directly forward, which is either to Lee or to us as an audience, because we're there to witness it as well.
Yeah.
Then he starts singing Happy Birthday while kind of sobbing. And an agent, I think Browning, pauses the video on the most terrifying face possible. And then she says that he sang Happy Birthday for 24 minutes. Which would drive anyone crazy, even if it wasn't sung by someone moaning like a dying Muppet dressed like Joker's mom. Fucking worst. Happy birthday. Agent Carter clears the room of everyone aside from Harker and Agent Browning, who says Longlegs' suitcase was stuffed with notebooks filled with satanic ramblings, but the handwriting on the notebooks matches the letters that were found at the murder scenes. So I guess that's enough. I mean,
it's enough to hold him.
Yeah.
To hold him, yeah. She says there's no physical evidence whatsoever that Longlegs has ever killed anyone, but she's more concerned about how he knows who Lee is. So I guess more like fearful of her safety because, usually cult leaders are not working alone. But it's fine because he's in custody and nothing can happen to her, right? Suddenly Lee says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns. And on his horns he wore 10 crowns, and on each head was written a blasphemous name," which really comes out of nowhere and feels kind of just shoehorned in here. But I guess it's something that her mom does say it later on. So maybe she's just quoting. It's maybe because he has accomplices. I don't know exactly what we were supposed to get from her saying that.
I think that's why she's so convinced he has accomplices.
Yeah.
Because it's, she's drawn the connection to the book of Revelation.
Mm-hmm. She says Longlegs has to have someone helping him that the families felt comfortable letting into their houses. Carter says it's good enough that they got the guy who wrote the letters, but she says it isn't over since they need to find the accomplices or accomplice, whatever. If they were going to make a sequel, they could easily just be like, there were multiple people. She also says that they're still missing the 13th on the triangle calendar algorithm thing. So they can expect his accomplice to kill at least one more family. So she wants to question Longlegs. We see another flashback to the interaction between Longlegs and Ruth from the 70s or whatever, where Longlegs says, "I'm a friend of a friend." And when Ruth asks what friend, he says, my friend that lives downstairs. Then she asks, downstairs from where? Ruth really seems normal in this, but then, she's a freak kind of later on when we see her after she's been put through the ringer of this insanity. Yeah. But I like that they made her just kind of feel like a mom who's trying to protect her kid in this scene. She says, downstairs from where? And he says, everywhere. You can call him Mr. Downstairs. Which is what I call my... never mind. We cut back to Lee just outside the interrogation room, psyching herself up for the big confrontation with Joan Rivers.
God damn it.
When she enters, Longlegs greets her with, oh, there she is, the almost birthday girl. And then he starts singing Tiptoe Through the Tulips right after that. Which echoes exactly what her mom said earlier. I don't remember where it was, but she did say that she was the almost birthday girl at some point. I don't remember when, but Longlegs says, it's funny, the day you decided to go into law enforcement, you were 20. We had such a big laugh about it, although it was only me who laughed, not she. And Lee asks who she's talking about, and Longlegs says, the seventh she to be given the same choice they've all been given, crimson or clover. Accept the gift and destroy it and destroy yourselves, or keep it and bow down. Bow all the way down. Get right down to the dirty, dirty work. Which is the same thing I said on my honeymoon. Ready to get down. He says, work that gets dirty as it cleans like a mop, like a rag. However he says that. She tells Longlegs she knows he doesn't work alone and wants to know about his accomplices or accomplice or whatever, which prompts him to start spinning in his chair like Ghost Rider before he whips his head to the side and says, knock, knock on the farmhouse door. A nice lady with a Bible and a congratulations, you've been selected. You may now collect your gift from the church. It says right here on the orders from the man downstairs. The Camera family farmhouse will be so bright and white you can't miss it. Lee asks if he's referring to Carrie Ann Camera, and he says, oh, but Lee, your house was even whiter when I came to visit. She asks if it was January 13th, 1974. Like a computer. Data is here. When he visited her, and he says, and then house number 8 was so white, whiter than a fish's throat, whiter than tits. I knew then that the work we were doing was immaculate, and it would take your tits off. Call back to a movie nobody's ever seen. She vehemently says, but your work's over, to which he says, this is like the point when he finally kind of calms down because he's sort of crazy, and then he calms down and says, yes, I am done, but I won't only be in here, I'll be a little bit of everywhere, waiting in the wings, in the Father's wings. She again presses to find out who his accomplice is and who the man downstairs is. So he says, why don't you ask your mommy? She says her mother doesn't know anything, and Longlegs lifts his head up in the air real high, says, "Hail Satan," and then bashes his own head against the table over and over. It's just gruesome.
Yeah.
Fucking rips his own nose off.
Yeah.
Just plastic surgery is, it's like flimsy. It'll just come right off.
Yeah. Went to Michael Jackson's surgeon.
Yep. This is the second movie in 2 years where Cage's character's last words were "Hail Satan." Almost makes you wonder if it's a coincidence at all. I don't know.
Yeah. Could explain his recageissance.
That's right, yeah. Sold his soul. Anyway, Lee stands in the corner covered in blood as agents rush into the room to stop Longlegs from smashing his head like a pumpkin, but they're they're too late. She's got like blood spattered on her from that. A caption pops on the screen that says Part 3, Birthday Girls. And we reach the true final act of the film. But for our purposes, I counted it as when Lee started to piece together that her mom was somehow involved. Otherwise, it would be like a fucking 5-minute finale to piece here.
Fastest finale in the history of film.
No, that goes to dark.
Yeah, that's true.
That was like a 7-hour finale, dude. What are you talking about?
Carter is pissed that now they have nothing and that it's somehow Lee's fault that the guy just turned his head into mashed potatoes. Which, you know, I think we kind of piece it together that he's under the influence of the devil this entire time. So he's more upset that they lost the person that they could pin this on and isn't concerned about the accomplice because, you know, spoilers, he's about to become a part of this whole thing. He also says that during the interrogation, Carrie Ann jumped off the roof of the mental institution. So I guess that finishes the triangle because I guess this is supposed to be the 13th. They catch Longlegs. They do the interrogation. He kills himself. Carrie Ann jumps off the roof. They go to the house, her mom's house, and then they go to the birthday party right after that. This is all in one day, apparently. So if the goblin who wrote the letters is dead and Carrie Ann killing herself finishes the pattern, then why is he so upset about this? But yeah, I guess because he's under the influence of the devil. Because Browning is totally on Lee's side to continue investigating and stuff. Carter yells that Longlegs told Carrie Ann to do it and that he did the same with the other families with no accomplices, and then he just storms off. Then Agent Browning drives Lee to her mom's house so that they can take her into custody because they think that she might know something about who the accomplice is because she knows she definitely met Longlegs and had an interaction with him. But I don't think they fully put together that she was a part of it at this point. Browning stays in the car as Lee heads into the house where she finds the door to the basement that she was trying to unlock earlier fully open. Quick fact, when Lee enters her mom's house near the end of the film, all 3 hands on the clock over the archway have been set to 6, which is another instance of the 666 theme that's recurrent throughout the film. We cut back to Browning in the car, and in the rear window, we see Ruth walk up from behind and blast Browning in the face with a double-barrel shotgun. In the house, Lee hears the shot, and as she walks away from the basement, we see yet another glimpse of the devil in the window behind her, which is really unsettling. That one in particular. I never saw it. I watched it 3 times and didn't see it, and then I finally went frame by frame and saw when she first walks out of the basement, it's clear as day in the window, devil head. Just kind of creepy that your mind can just block that out. Yep. Kind of same thing as the influence of the devil, you know?
Yep.
Lee makes her way to a window where she sees her mom take another shot on the other side of the car at Browning's head, which I'm not sure if you've seen what can happen when you fire a shotgun from 6 inches away from somebody, but I don't think he needed that second shot. I think she was deader than fried chicken already. Lee can't believe her eyes, and then she poses for the movie poster. She runs outside to stop her murdering mom, who has the shotgun trained on a doll that looks exactly like Lee as a child. Lee asks, what the hell is that monstrous thing, whatever the hell that is, referring to the doll, and Ruth tearfully says, you caught him, now he's free. Lee tells her Longlegs is dead, and so everything is over, and Ruth says, and you're free too, baby girl, before blasting the head of the doll after we see about 2 frames of actual young Lee, which is kind of a blink and you'll miss it little thing there. Just a really quick glimpse of the kid who played Lee at the beginning before cutting to the doll getting shot in the face. Some smoke flies out of Lee's head, out the back of her head, causing her to grab her temple and ask what's happening before falling on the ground and passing out while watching smoke come out of the doll's head. We cut to Lee as a kid again, while Ruth tells her daughter and all of us a little story. She says, once upon a time, there was a girl named Lee. She lived in a little house with her mother, and no one ever came to visit. No family, no big bad wolves, no anyone. But one day, a man did come. a doll maker. We see Longlegs from the neck down again, and he says, I'm just dropping off an early birthday gift. I came from the church. You won. We cut to Longlegs crafting Lee's doll, and Ruth says the doll maker started his work, his terrible magic, the work of the devil, with a little bit of him in every one. The doll made the little girl forget and told her where to look and what not to see. The devil wanted the little girl for his own, but her mother couldn't let that happen. By the way, we see another shot of the devil standing over Lee in this shot, which I think is the one, Nigel, you said that you saw.
Yeah.
Like, right, like a big shadow over the top of her. Also, we should probably point out that creepy as all hell kiss that Longlegs gives that doll.
His terrible magic. The work of the devil.
Something tells me that he and the coroner guy are going to be just best buds in hell.
God damn it.
We see Longlegs tying up Ruth in the living room, where we hear him say, you could have played nice with me, but you didn't. And that is the reason for all of this. Then we cut to a creepy dark silhouette on a nearby couch of Lee's doll, whose eyes are just like glowing under the sheet. It's just fucking creepy as hell.
Yep.
Did a really good job with those dolls.
Yeah.
Making them as spooky as possible. Ruth says she begged for Lee's life to be spared, and in exchange, she'd have to help Longlegs. She says she had once been a nurse, and now her work would be murdering families. She wonder what kind of dental plan that comes with. We see Ruth delivering a doll while dressed as a nun to the camera family, which I guess was the first victims of this whole thing. I'm guessing.
I was just looking it up. You can look at the website that they set up, and it lists all the victims. And Lee would have been the seventh, like he says.
Oh, okay.
It started in like 1968. The first victims were I don't remember, some other family.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but yeah, then after that, Ruth started helping. It doesn't even have the cameras on here for some reason.
I guess technically the kid never died.
Yeah, because she never died.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see her dressed as a nun. She arrives at the camera family farm, and she says, it went like this. Knock, knock, knock on the farmhouse door. A nice lady with a Bible and a congratulations, you've won. A gift from the church. Exactly the way that Longlegs said it in the interrogation. We see her enter the house, and she says all your mother had to do was get inside. Then, from his hiding place within the house, the devil did the rest. We again see the father murdering his wife, then see Ruth running from the house, covered in blood on her clothes, and her throw up and hyperventilate in the car. She says all she had to do was make sure that the murders went down the way that he wanted them to, and in exchange, Lee got to live. Guessing, is she talking about Longlegs or the devil? How he wanted them to. We cut to Lee waking up in the basement of her mom's house, and wouldn't you know it, the basement just so happens to be where Longlegs has been living and crafting his dolls all these years. Some psychic. But, like we said, she can only see what he wants her to see. Mm-hmm. She hears a phone ringing upstairs, and when she answers it 5 minutes later, it takes her forever to stumble up the stairs and answer the phone. She hears the same devil whispering Ruth heard earlier, but this time it's accompanied by a demonic voice saying, "You're late for Miss Ruby's 8th birthday." Then it says, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." Tongue comes out of the phone. Yeah. Lee stumbles outside, still shaken up by whatever was happening with the doll brain exploding and coming out of the spell of all of this. And she finds Longlegs' car in the garage, which I guess she never was able to see because of the spell. She uses it to drive to Agent Carter's house while bawling her eyes out and screaming, which is the most emotion we see her have at any point. So I think she's kind of coming out of her Rain Man funk.
Well, the doll is destroyed, so it's sort of now she's free, as her mom said. Maybe. Yeah.
She pulls in to see her mom's slug bug in the driveway and runs inside with her gun drawn. Carter excitedly greets Lee at the door and is happy she made it to the party. She's confused and asks if everything is okay, and Carter says everything is fine, and that she's just in time for presents. When Lee enters, Carter looks around outside to see if anybody's watching, and when he closes the door, we see the devil reflected in the glass window, which marks our final subtle glimpse of the devil. That one's a little less subtle.
Yeah.
Inside, we see Ruby sitting next to her doll and Ruth sitting across the room from her. Lee tries to tell Carter that Ruth is Longlegs' accomplice and has been this entire time, but he screams for her to sit down because he's already in his murder mode. The family all seem completely out of it, and Anne, Carter's wife, not Steve Rogers, asks what Ruth's name was again. Ruth says, "Don't mind me. I'm just a friend of a friend." Lee tries to break the spell, but Carter just stares at the doll and says he needs to go find something to cut up the cakes with. Cakes, plural. So he's clearly not referring to a cake. He's referring to the kid and his wife. Anne seems to be trying to come out of this hex or whatever, and she like chokes and stops herself. Which, I think that's true through all of these, is like anybody who's under the influence of the devil or whatever is still there and knows what they're doing, sadly, but can't stop themselves. But she can't, and instead asks if he has to cut up the cakes, to which Carter says, "Yeah, I have to cut up the cakes. It was your stupid fucking idea, a suggestion in the first place." I think it's funny, like kind of add a little bit of levity, even though it's like just really fucked up and awful. But just these parts made me laugh with Carter for some reason. Ruth tells Lee the woman is already dead and the little girl will be next. Carter has tears in his eyes as if he knows what he's doing but can't stop himself, and escorts his wife into the kitchen. Anne says, "I'm so sorry. We'll be right back," to Ruth, but Carter says, "No, I'll be right back. You'll still be in the kitchen." I guess I shouldn't laugh, but
I think it's supposed to be darkly funny.
Dark comedy. Yeah.
A couple of moments like that in the movie.
Yeah. I feel like Longlegs' entire character is just a dark, hilarious joke. I don't know. Ruth says all three of them have to die because if they don't, then we will burn and twist and burn and twist in hell forever and ever, which I guess she's referring to Lee and herself.
Yeah.
Suddenly we hear Carter kill his wife in the kitchen while Lee just stands there and does nothing. But, maybe she's incapable and isn't able to like even move. She's also under the power, but the doll was destroyed, so maybe she's not. I don't know.
Well, I think she's under the power of this doll, the one that's in the room right now. But outside of that,
as we
she's
kind
free
of
to act
established, that the dolls control anybody who's around them.
Yeah.
We cut away from that and we show Ruth delivering dolls to all of the victims' houses that we've seen throughout the movie so far. Ruth says she's doing this so that Lee can live, and that I'll do it again and again until I stand upon the sand of the sea and I see a beast rise up out of the sea. Hail Satan. While she's like, there's like a shot of her covered in blood, and she's kind of like, you can tell she's embraced the devil and she's like a whole part of this thing now. So like she was hesitant at the beginning, but she's fully embraced Satan, probably because she didn't really have a choice. But Lee finally does something by grabbing Ruby and pulling her away from the doll. Carter stumbles into the room covered in blood and storms toward Ruby to finish the job, but Lee shoots him. Ruth creepily says, "Move away from the girl." It's like her voice like changes a little bit. It's kind of demonic, which is kind of a cool detail. And she pulls a knife from under her nun habit or whatever the hell that is. Lee says, "Mom, please," but Ruth screams, "Don't call me that." So I guess she's not, it's like fully Satan.
Yeah.
That's
kind of what I figured.
Satan takes the wheel. Lee shoots her mom in the head and starts sobbing. She turns to face Ruby, who is hugging the doll tight. Lee pulls Ruby away and then goes to shoot the doll, but the gun won't fire. And suddenly we hear Longlegs' disembodied voice singing, "Happy birthday to you." And then it adds like 24 minutes to this runtime because he just keeps singing it. Lee stares at the doll for a long beat. And we cut to Longlegs laughing in the interrogation room that we saw earlier before saying, "Hail Satan," and making a little kissy face to the camera. The end.
We have a Coppola questions before we move on.
Coppola questions. At the beginning of the film, when the guy who shoots Lee's partner in the face before giving himself up, why do you think that he just gave himself up 10 seconds later? Do you think it was because he unwittingly was leading Harker to being put on the case for Longlegs?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that makes sense, because why would he just shoot her or shoot him and then just not shoot her?
I think this whole time Lee has been involved in this, whether she realizes it or not. I guess that's part of why when Longlegs is like, when you wanted to be a policeman or whatever, we all laughed and laughed. Like she's trying to steer away from it, but then the devil and Longlegs and his mom are basically, her mom are like, we can use this and get her back in on it. You know, like it was meant to be or something. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like her fate. It's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, there's no reason the guy wouldn't have just shot her, just like he shot the other guy immediately as soon as the door opened. So,
and tried to get away because presumably this guy is wanted for murder. Why does he have like plastic all over his house?
Yeah, like was he going to go up there and kill himself or something? And then because she was like, "Don't shoot," and he's like, "I won't." Like he can't. Maybe he can't. Yeah, now. Or he's not under control of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I wondered that. The whole time, but it makes the most logical assumption is that he is suddenly being controlled by the devil, who doesn't want Lee to be harmed. Yeah. The devil's been protecting Lee this entire time, and so he just makes him give himself up so that Lee is put onto this case. Which I'm sure there were all sorts of other things that led Lee to that moment, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's these things that make her seem psychic, but she's not. She's just basically the devil's directing her actions in ways that seem too coincidental.
Yeah, and occasionally seeing glimpses of things that she's already seen but didn't remember seeing.
Yeah.
Do you think that weird little conversation between Ruby and Lee about the veal being tied up in the box was a call forward to the dolls? Because the dolls are kind of put into the box the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it's a symbolic or a metaphor for the children not growing up because they're dead, right? So they get killed at a young age and they're unable to grow up.
I think it's also like they're not in control, even though they grow. They're not actually gonna grow. They're gonna get killed. And so it's like Lee and Ruby are both never free. Like even though it seems like it's ambiguous at the end, right? But maybe they're not. Maybe they're still under sway of this whole thing.
That's one of my big questions is, do you think that Lee is now going to have to take up the mantle so that she can protect Ruby in order to, she has to continue the killings?
It kind of feels like that because that means the 13th ritual didn't happen. So, and she couldn't destroy the doll. So now is Ruby going to be the one whose life is dictated for 20 years? Maybe Lee enters into a deal to protect Ruby and the cycle just starts over.
Well, according to the writer director, Lee's free of anything to have to do with it from now on, and it's Ruby's problem from here on out. That's her problem. Huh. Because somebody asked,
makes sense because the doll.
Could you use this to set up a sequel, or is like Lee now going to be responsible for Ruby? And he's like, the way I see it is Lee's free. That's not her problem anymore.
I think that's why her mom shot the doll and blew its head off. It was like, it actually did free her, but that last doll is still intact and Ruby's still alive. So, she's now trapped basically the way that Lee was. Yeah. How I look at it.
But there's nobody to carry out the murders now. There's nobody working for Satan to commit the murders.
Okay. So Satan can't influence Lee anymore for whatever reason.
Yeah. So there's like a part of Ruth that's still awake, and she comes out of it, and that's why she shot the doll. Was like, I have a moment here. I can free you from this curse, so that you don't end up like me.
Maybe because Longlegs was dead and she's taken over now and has a little bit of autonomy. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I would think that her rationalization is Longlegs is dead. You free Lee by destroying the doll, and then Ruby's death completes the final act, and then they'll both be free.
Yeah.
There's no more work needs to be done. But now, even with Ruby still being alive, it doesn't matter because there's nobody to carry out the rest of that final act, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guess so.
Then we'll find someone else to work through to finish it.
Yeah. That's why I was wondering if it would just, the cycle would begin again with Lee as the kind of Ruth character going forward. Was it just me, or did Longlegs' face look just a little bit different every time we see him?
It's hard to tell because we see him in different points in time. Mm-hmm. So I think he just keeps doing more and more work on his face. Maybe he cuts part of his face off and puts them in his face off. That's part of his face off. It puts them into the brains of the dolls, and then he's like, he's a doll maker, so he hacks together his own plastic surgery to fix his face.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
because in the shot when he's talking to Ruth's mom, or to Ruth, he ties her up. He's like, it's a lot younger. Obviously, it's supposed to be in the 70s, but his face is it's still done a lot of work, but it's not all as hacked up, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's like he's already been cutting parts of his face off or something, changing his appearance for whatever reason. Because like according to the website, would have been the 7th murder, so he'd done it 6 times already. So maybe every time he did it, he had to go through more of a transformation. Could also be just making him look more bestial and inhuman the longer time goes on.
Yeah. I like the idea that he's sort of reconstructing himself as, because he's a doll maker.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool idea. Final question I'll ask is just, aside from the devil, what do you think the snakes in those flashes were meant to represent?
I just think it's the devil. Serpent's always been a symbol of the devil. And then I think I think there are 2, and I think one of them is supposed to be Longlegs, maybe. It's her mind trying to tell her something that she can't remember. Maybe.
Yeah. No creature has a longer leg than a snake.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Elephants. They got a pretty long third leg.
Where was Longlegs going when he got arrested? With those, he had the briefcase full of his notes and stuff, and then he had looked like a suitcase of whatever. Was it doll making parts that he was just trying to move on and go continue his work elsewhere? Like, obviously, he wanted to be arrested. He knew it was going to happen. So why did he have this stuff? I guess he would have had the briefcase of all of his notes so that they would hold him, because that would definitely tie him to the other murders. So he knew that they would keep him around to be interrogated by Lee. So I just thought it was weird. Like, why is he waiting for a bus when he's got a car that we've seen him driving around? It seems like he could be caught a lot easier if he wanted to.
Maybe just to distance himself from Ruth's house and be caught somewhere out and about, somewhere innocuous that wouldn't lead them back to Ruth.
That makes sense.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. Why is he taking all that stuff if he plans to get caught? But yeah, like you said, I
think it's just like he wanted to have it on him so that they could tie. Maybe they were both briefcases full of all of his notes for years and years of stuff, and he just wanted to have all the evidence with him so they would keep him.
Yeah, could be.
I guess my other one is more metaphorical. Is just, what do we think is the origin of Longlegs? Was he someone who willingly decided to serve the devil, or did he get roped into doing this the same way Ruth did for similar circumstances?
My headcanon is that Longlegs was in a band, and
I like that now too. He sold his soul
because he sings almost everything that he says. We see a guitar at some point.
He listens to the rock music.
He listens to all these bands.
He has all these lyrics written down of
long hair. I think that he was in a band, and he started listening to satanic music, and that was sort of to tie into the satanic panic of the 90s.
Even in the hippies in the 60s, they would say all kinds of shit about hippies being satanic or whatever, and the free love movement. And the killings, according to the fake website they set up, the killings started in 66. So
Yeah, that's what I think is like. He was the OG Jeremiah Sands.
Yeah.
Just didn't have the looks.
Yep.
Or the dog.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Because I was like, because it seems like almost like he's trapped in that one scene when he's singing, "Mommy, Daddy, I'm," and then it flash forward, it mirrors Lee screaming in the car as well, in the same car, driving it and stuff. So it's like, was he at some point not a satanic worshiper who just got pulled into this through one reason or another? Is this a cycle that repeats itself over and over again?
Yeah, I think so. That's where my head went, was like he was a normal guy who unwittingly triggered something that caused him to be connected with Satan, and the rest is history after that.
Right. Because, we see both Ruth is doing this, but she's doing it to save Lee. So she was doing it altruistically, but ends up doing horrible shit and becoming a full-on convert, I guess, if you want to call it at the end, by like, "Don't call me your mother, hail Satan." Like, who's to say Longlegs didn't have the same thing? He was just some normal guy that something happened to, and then now he's just been stuck doing this for decades.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's like crying when he's singing "Happy Birthday" and stuff. Like, he knows he's getting close to being able to be free, or he's just close to being able to hang out by the right hand of the devil. Like, he's fully converted now.
Yeah, I like that idea that he's kind of a pawn in this too. We're all pawns for Satan.
It's time to keep track. Here are the final stats.
Nigel, do you want to hit us with the old curse tracker?
Yeah, there's an ambiguous one, which I think I'm just going to count because there aren't any other curses. But one use of hell when he's singing in the car in his little song about this hell that I'm living. Because I kind of don't count it when it's hell talking about an actual literal place. But why not? There's no other curses that he has in it. Because he's sort of, he doesn't swear. There are people swear in the movie, but he doesn't swear any other time in it. So, we'll count it. One use of hell. So we're starting off this season with 740 total curses.
Our Satanist doesn't curse.
Yeah.
That feels like it could be another thing where Cage is just like, what would be interesting is if he never curses throughout the whole movie.
But now that I think about it, it's kind of weird. Why would he want to be free of the hell that he's living? Maybe because he wants to go to the actual hell to be with Satan, or he's trapped in. He doesn't actually want to be and go to hell, but he knows it's when it's going to happen.
Maybe that's he has that moment with that little kid in the craft store or whatever, and she makes fun of him and makes him feel bad, and then in the car he's like, "God, I wish I could be free of this." In his weird falsetto way. A lot of layers to this movie. I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface.
No, I like that what you said about the director saying, well, in my mind Lee is free, but like, I like when they leave ambiguous endings, because at that point it's like the truest expression of art. Like, here's what I wanted to do, here's how I presented it, but now you do whatever. You interpret it however you want. That's the whole point of art, is it's a back and forth between the artist and the audience. So leave it up to you to interpret it however you feel like. Yeah. And I've done my job.
Even though he says that she's free, that's just how he sees it.
Yeah.
The story's ended, so he doesn't know. I mean, there's no further story. We came into her life at this point, we left her life at this point, and his perception of that character is she's free now. But who's to say that circumstances don't change that down the road? I mean, there's it's ambiguous. And that's what I liked about it, which is probably what other people didn't like about it.
After she adopts Ruby, and she has to keep that doll in an attic somewhere. Okay, so runtime on this one was 101 minutes, which you wouldn't know by the 3-hour episode that we did on this movie, but pretty short.
Breakdown.
101 minutes sandwiches it between The Wicker Man and Valley Girl. The Wicker Man just kind of ties into it. It's similar, I guess. Nudity, there was none that I noticed. There was almost nudity with the mom who puts that knife against her stomach, but I guess doesn't slash herself. State and Country Tracker. This is our second time going to Oregon, which is funny. It's the second time that Cage has worked with Neon, and both movies have been set in Oregon. I don't know if that's something Neon does normally, or I don't know. It's interesting. Coincidence. Pig was the other time that we went. Budget versus gross. We don't have a full-on, like, this is definitely the budget, but around 10 million. They said under 10 million. I'm just going to call it 10 million, which I think is what we did on Dream Scenario as well. But it grossed $127 million, which is a substantial windfall. One of the biggest turnarounds for investment in all of the movies that we've talked about, aside from like Valley Girl, which I think was like $150,000 or $250,000 or something like that, and made $17 million. Yeah, which is a huge return on investment. But this one was pretty substantial. That brings our grand total up to $1.975.5 billion budget with a $4.716.1 billion gross. Jesus. About to hit $2 billion on the budget and $5 billion on the gross. Insane. Not even halfway through. As far as top grossing films, this is pretty high up there. This is, I think, the 13th highest, which is kind of fitting, 13. On the 13th is when the last murder happened. That's awesome. Yeah, sandwiched between Nick's last highest grossing film in his career up to this point, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, which made 132.6, and The Family Man, which made 124.7. Damn. So right in between those two. Ratings, this is our 29th R-rated film, far and away the leader on that. And I don't think that we're going to have any more PG films probably the rest of our run. I don't know. There could be a few, but that I know of, I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see. And that leads us over to the Cage Kill Tracker.
Well, it's been a while since we've had a lot to do here. So I had to go out and do some research on this and kind of see what the consensus is. So the agreed total number of kills for Longlegs, and again, I mean, we're in that gray area, but the total number of victims because of his actions on the behalf of the devil, people agreed it was 15, which would bring us up to 221 for total kills throughout the whole series that we've done. And we finally had a death. It's been a hot second. He smashed his face real good on that stainless steel table. Which brings us up to
death
60.
we had was in the Croods, right? No. Yeah.
In Dream Scenario, when he just fucking shotgunned his brains out. That was a weird ending, dude. I wasn't expecting that.
We did count a kill in Dream Scenario because he shot himself with an arrow, if you remember.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so 221 kills over the duration of our podcast and 16 deaths now.
Where does this masterpiece fall? Let's rank this film on the Cageometer.
That leads us to the most important question that we ask on One Cage at a Time. 1 3-hour podcast at a time. Vince, where does Longlegs from 2024 rate on your Cageometer?
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Like I said earlier, this film, the first time I saw it, I had a lot of mixed feelings about it. I enjoyed it, but I don't think I appreciated it after that first viewing. Now having seen it 3 more times and doing the breakdown with you guys multiple times, I have much more of appreciation for this film, especially the amount of layers that have been woven into it. I stayed away from the marketing and all that stuff, so I really went into this film pretty blind. So when it took the twist and became more of a satanic offering and killing, it kind of threw me off, but I enjoyed it. I can understand why people didn't, but for me personally, I really do like that twist. I like how unique it was, and I really love the pacing, the framing, the music, like everything about this film was awesome for me. Just based off of some of the other films that we've seen, I think 8 is pretty solid to put it at. We've watched better films. As far as Cage's performance, fuck, I'll have to give him a 10 because he really did melt into that character, and I forgot it was the only time I knew it was Nick Cage, like for sure, like 100%. You couldn't deny it. Is the scene in the car where he starts screaming, "Mommy, Daddy!" But other than that, I mean, they physically took him away from you.
Yeah.
And then he just melts into this character that we haven't seen him do before. And we've seen him do some crazy characters, but he just kind of really melted into that character. And with the limited screen time that he had, I think he definitely added a lot of depth to this film. And goddamn, it's just creepy as fuck. I mean, they did such a great job of making him creepy, and then his performance made him creepy. So maybe it tends too high. Maybe you guys won't agree, but I really forgot I was watching him as he portrayed that character. So 8 for the movie, 10 for Mr. Cage.
Yeah, his presence looms very large over the entire movie, even when he's not in it. I do wish he would have just been like, "Mommy, we're gonna be home real soon. Gonna get out of this hell, mommy." All right, Nigel. All right, Cage. Nigel, where does Longlegs rate on your Cageometer?
I will echo a lot of what Vince said when I'm glad that we've had to take this time to digest this, more time than people realize, to digest this film versus just seeing it. Because I was feeling the same way right after I first watched. I kind of I didn't say it was bad, but there were things that bothered me about it. And I think, thinking about it a little bit more and analyzing it some more, I think that'll give it a little bit more credit. I was originally thinking on a 7. I'll move it up to an 8 as well for a lot of the same reasons that have been said. I think that once I was having the first act, I thought was really great, really interesting, where it's sort of possibly supernatural, but mostly about a serial killer with maybe some supernatural elements to it. But I kind of felt like once we got into the full meat of it being a story about the devil doing it, gets a little bit contrived and a little bit hand wavy for my tastes of like, well, now it's the devil's doing it, so anything like those is the cause of the devil. And
yeah,
I also feel like Nick Cage, the character of Longlegs, is creepy, but was never really scary to me. He was kind of more comic and comedic, and I don't know if that's what they were going for. I think they were trying to go for more of a scary, unsettling vibe, but I don't know what it is about it. It just, to me, he's not intimidating at all. He's just goofy.
Yeah. I remember watching it the first time, and when he did the cuckoo thing with the hands, I just busted up laughing. And I was
for me, it was the part when he's in the car, like,
yeah,
"Mommy, Daddy," like that immediately took me out of the movie, like no other moment in the film had.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the intent for it. I think it was supposed to make you realize how nuts this guy is. But for me, it was just like, oh, it's Nick Cage doing weird fucking shit in a car, which we've seen in other stuff. Like, he was, yeah. So stuff like that brings it down a little bit. I bumped it up to an 8 because I think it's well written. It's shot phenomenally. The atmosphere and the tone of it and the pacing and the acting is all great for a horror film to get you into kind of unsettling vibes. And again, talking about rewatching it, there's so many details that you will catch when you watch it a second time that were there at the start that your brain just filtered out and you didn't realize, which is thematic to the overall story. So I think it's a pretty well crafted movie. I just felt like kind of a little bit went off the rails when it started bringing in like satanic stuff. And I don't know. It just, maybe that's a little bit my personal take on it. Things are a little bit cliched when it comes into like, oh, the devil made me do it type of stuff. But yeah, still very, very well crafted film. I didn't like it as much as something like Mandy, but I think from a film craft standpoint, it deserves to be up there just like that. Like Mandy. So I'll give it the same score. I think I gave Mandy an 8. Maybe I gave it a 9. I don't know.
I think it was a 9.
Okay. So yeah, as far as Cage's performance, it's hard. I don't want to, I think I'm going to go against the grain a bit and give him a 7 just because of what I said. He doesn't seem he definitely loses himself in the role, but there were times where, again, it was just like, it's Nick Cage doing a goofy voice. And like I said, I didn't feel intimidated or scared by him or even really creeped out. It was just more of like, he's weird. Mm-hmm. And I wish I hadn't got that. He could be intimidating. The part when he talks about, down to the floor or whatever, the way he says that is how I wanted the character to be the whole time, instead of this high falsetto, creepy, weird Chappelle or Pinocchio, Tiny Tim voice, whatever you want to call it. I felt like there were times where he could have been a lot more sinister. And I think the story would have benefited from it. The movie would have been benefit from that versus what we got. So yeah, I'll give him a 7. It's a good performance. It's great. I can see why people love it and say like, this is the best I've ever seen Nicolas Cage, because they're not used to seeing him anything close to this. Mm-hmm. Maybe our past experiences are coloring my opinion a little bit, but yeah. And I'm glad he did it. And I wish that he would play characters like, not like this, but maybe villains more often, because I think he can be really good at it and be really menacing and intimidating. And I get why he doesn't want to do it, but I wish he would a little bit more. Maybe he will as the Cage-essence continues on. Or the Renaissance continues on. So, good movie. Was a little bit disappointed in it, but not enough to really knock it down. And I want to be a little bit kinder to it than I initially was after that first watch. So,
yeah. On my Cageometer, I did not expect to align with you guys as much because I thought I was going to get some heat for giving it an 8 as well. I also gave the movie an 8 because I feel like there's some things that I didn't love about it for sure. I mean, it's a great movie. It's obviously an 8 is a really good score, really well crafted and stuff. But I feel like the third act, when they're explaining Ruth's involvement and the connection with Longlegs and Satan and all this stuff, and it just felt like it was just kind of all over the place and kind of confusing. And I think they could have tied that bow a little bit better. There were other little things throughout, like, I don't know, Lee's motivations sometimes are a little confusing, but at the same time, I think she's, under the influence of the devil. And that's, like you said, it kind of ruins things because it's like, well, you could just say that about everything. Like, well, that happened because the devil is talking through them. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why Carrie Ann talks weird. She's under the influence of the devil, It's like, it's kind of becomes a lazy plot device. Whereas like making Longlegs be kind of the mastermind of this whole thing and not having the devil behind it would have made it work a little bit better in my mind. But that's just me, same kind of thing, just personal preference. I'm not going to say too much more about it. I thought cinematography was beautiful. Music was great. I thought the editing was really well done. Pacing's great. The only thing I didn't really love as far as the crafting of the film was like, I just felt like it was kind of confusing at parts. But again, it sort of seems like it was intentional.
Yeah, I think it gets clear when we dissect it, and you watch it again. So, it may be a positive to people in that respect because it means that the film's kind of complicated and you have to think about it a little bit more. But I agree with you. It's on that first watch, you're kind of like, I feel a little bit more confused than I feel like I should feel for a story that like this.
Yeah.
It's definitely a film that benefits from repeat viewing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to watch it again. Honestly.
It's not a feel-good movie, but
no.
I think it is. I could see why people scored it so low after watching it the first time because, like you said, I think because it relies so heavily on exposition in the third act, you're just kind of like hammered with like, okay, I understand her mom was a part of it, but now you're just hammering me over the head with why and how her mom got involved. And then we talked about it. There's just some issues with like the timeline. Well, not issues with the timeline, but the timeline is ambiguous. So you're like, well, where the fuck does all this fit in?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that really kind of pulling it down. And I think,
when it comes to exposition, like, she literally stops and tells us a story in the third act, and like, okay, once upon a time there was a girl named Lee. It was like
that's kind of how I felt like the movie was. Like the first half is definitely a mystery, and it's like, okay, we're unpacking this as the characters do, and it's rewarding to get to it. But then the payoff is, okay, well, the devil's making this weird guy do it, and then his mom enters into the deal with him to save her, and it's just like, it just feels a little bit, it doesn't feel like that's worth the setup that we've been going through and the mystery we've been setting up. It feels too simple that it's just like, oh, it's the devil. Okay. Yeah, it's less interesting. Like, imagine if like the payoff at the end of 7 was like, no, the devil was literally making Kevin Spacey do all of this. It's like, okay, that's less rewarding.
100%. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it. And I think there's a lot of really great, interesting layers to it. I just can't give it higher than an 8 just because of like, those couple things.
Yep.
But overall, really well-crafted film. And I'm interested to see what Oz Perkins does from here on out. As far as Cage, I agree with you, Nigel, that it did take me out and in some points, and there were parts where I just started busting up laughing, like, because I want to, think that it's because we've seen Nick Cage do so many crazy, wacky things that we're sort of imparting our own feelings towards it because it reminded us of other things. So I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to give it a 9 because he does disappear. It's not Nick Cage. Like, he's gone. Until there's moments where you hear things that you've heard before. But I feel like if you weren't us and you weren't a Nick Cage fan, you might not even know that he was in the movie. You would maybe get done with the movie and be like, wait a minute, Nick Cage was in that? What part did he play? So I think that's a true testament to how great his performance was. Is like, if I didn't know that was Nick Cage, would I have known that it was Nick Cage? Like, if I didn't go into it knowing Nick Cage is playing this fucking whatever the hell monster creature chimera person that he becomes, would I have known that was Nick Cage? So I think a 9. I'm not going to put it up there with Pig or Adaptation or maybe even Dream Scenario, but like, it's a really insane performance. There's not a whole lot of it, but what you do get just is not. It's a different person. It's a completely different person. Maybe that's because of the prosthetics and we just don't see Nick Cage in the face, but like, that helps. There are quite a few moments where I'm just like, that is not Nick Cage. The voice is the only thing that grounds me back to it's Nick. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think what really colored my review of his performances, I saw the movie with somebody that's not a psycho like us and watches every fucking thing. And she was, at the end of the movie, she's like, it's creepy how I know that's Nick Cage because of you. Like, this is why we're seeing it. But it is nothing I've ever seen him do before. And like, just how creepy, like, he comes off as this like timid guy, but there's this darkness behind him, and it just creeped her the fuck out. And so I think that probably is that definitely colored my review of his performance. And it's because I mean, I'm right there with you guys. The moment he starts doing cagey stuff, I get pulled out of the movie. But to hear somebody that's not as knowledgeable about his performances and his weirdness, it kind of made me think, okay, well, if that's how the average person views it and they don't see him in the film, like, that's high praise. Like, that's pretty high praise.
To kind of put a spin on that, I almost wish that Brad Pitt had played the character, because then I've been watching it from the standpoint of somebody like that who doesn't watch a ton of Brad Pitt movies, and I may have gotten that type of experience. Like, holy shit, I didn't realize Brad Pitt could do something like that. That's creepy. And that makes the movie much better. But for me, it's the opposite of this. It's just like, the movie's really great and atmospheric until Nick Cage starts talking, and then it's like, it pulls me out because he's doing a weird voice, and I know it's Nick Cage doing goofy stuff, I guess.
I'm just trying to look at it as somebody who may not know that was Nick Cage. Like,
And I don't
as
think
a performance
it's
on its own, it's amazing. Pretty incredible. And I do think a lot of people probably went into it not knowing that Nick Cage was capable of that kind of thing. Because I feel like the average Joe who's probably going to go watch Longlegs based on a viral marketing campaign probably has never seen Nick Cage's great work, you know.
Yeah, and I've heard that from
stuff that we've talked about
from at least 2 people now. Like, oh my god, this is the craziest Nick Cage performance I've ever seen. Like, I didn't realize he was capable of doing this kind of stuff. And it's like, I know they're not going to watch Pig, you know, and get what we would get out of it, or even Dream Scenario, you know, for that matter, or any of the other movies we watched where we've seen him do a standout character. So this is maybe it. This might be the most, you know, surprising performance they'll ever see out of Nick Cage. So it's valid.
A lot of people don't know or have forgotten that Nick Cage is an Oscar-winning Best Actor who is capable of delivering some incredible performances. And the enduring debate with Cage forever has always been, is he an amazing actor or a terrible actor?
Yeah.
Because he's capable of both.
He rides that line.
So, yeah.
Here it is, the moment you've all been waiting for. These are the cagiest moments of the film.
Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo.
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
And bow down. Bow all the way down. And get right down to the dirty, dirty work. Work that gets dirty as it cleans. Like a mop. Like a rat. Let me in now, and it can be nice. Make me go now, and I have to come back. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like. Knock, knock on the farmhouse door. A nice lady with a Bible and a congratulations, you have been selected. You may now collect your gift from the church. With cheese and crackers.
Hey!
Right?
And then when house number 8 was so white, whiter than a fish's throat, whiter than tits, I knew then that the work we were doing was immaculate.
His terrible magic. The work of the devil.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lee Harker.
It goes on like that for a while.
For how long?
24 minutes.
Hail Satan.
That's it for this episode of One Cage at a Time. As always, be sure to drop us an email at onecagepodcast@gmail.com to let us know if we missed anything, any of those devils that showed up in the background, whatever. Or hit us up with suggestions to improve the show, comments, compliments, or simply to gush about the legend that is Longlegs. Up next, we'll be watching a film that could not be any different from Longlegs. The 1990 film Firebirds, aka Top Gun, but with helicopters and a shittier script. It's like Top Gun's idiot cousin. There were so many of these like Top Gun ripoffs back in the day, like Iron Eagle. And,
They tried to recapture that magic.
Nick plays a hotshot Apache helicopter pilot who is tasked with helping to destroy a powerful South American drug cartel. With the help of Tommy Lee Jones, he's just fighting some helicopter pilot who works for a drug cartel. Like, it's a really dumb premise, but it's really kind of fun because of how schlocky and stupid it is. I don't know. It's actually a pretty enjoyable watch. But anyways, stars him, Tommy Lee Jones, and Sean Young, who I always had a thing for when I was a kid. I had a really big crush on Sean Young back in the day. And then she played Lieutenant Einhorn, and it kind of ruined it.
That only made it better for me, dude. That was my sexual awakening.
I saw that panty shot in Ace Ventura, and I was like,
wait, that's a thing?
Say. It currently holds an impressive 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it's going to be great.
And has been completely forgotten by pretty much everyone alive, including Nick, I'm sure. Oh, that paid for my kitchen remodel.
My first castle.
My first castle. Anyways, make sure to check it out wherever fine films are sold or on your streaming service of choice. Until then, we'll say goodbye the way we do each and every episode with our Nicolas Cage quote of the film.
Thanks for listening to One Cage at a Time. Visit us online at onecageatatime.com or follow us on the social media platform of your choice for more Nicolas Cage goodness. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you really like the show, become a member of our Patreon where you can download unedited and ad-free episodes, as well as listen to our follow-up show, Back Into the Cage, where we re-examine each movie to discuss what we missed the first time around, answer listener questions, and wax poetic about the man, the myth, the legend that is Nicolas Cage.